Best place to look now is just behind us, because we don't always get them where I can see them on the start line. In fact, there isn't one on the start-finish line at the moment. Still code 60 flag out behind me, as the, even under code 60 you still manage to get a little bit of clumping, don't you? It is quite amazing. It's very odd though when you see a single car in elegant isolation driving around on its own, and you think, why isn't he catching up? Oh yes, of course he can't.
Wave green, we're going
green flag. So we are back to racing. It's just after 1 o'clock here in the Netherlands, and we have just under 5 hours and 57 minutes to go, 5:56 and a half, and we are back moving at speed again. And the remaining 40 odd cars, we have had as ever a refreshingly low number of actual retirements. People get back to the pits, they fettle the cars, and they go out again to try and get a bit more track time. Renger van der Zande leads the motor race in the number 33 Mercedes-Benz, the car collection entered machine. It's Jaromir Jirisch at the wheel of the number 9 Ferrari in second position now, having just come out of the pits. Be interesting to see what his lap times are. Has Jaromir been in that car?
No, he didn't. Yesterday it was started by his Czech teammate Pisarik, who had a little tumble, and then all the heroics were provided by Peter Cox, who started us off today, handed back to Pisarik, and now Jaromir. So taking over after a code 60, he's going to have to see how he can handle his tyres. Could well be even his first visit to Zandvoort as well, so don't expect quick laps from that. But Rick Abresh will be hauling him in.
Yes,
those cars are running together, albeit a lap apart. But Abresh will be right on the pace. He's an hour and 2 minutes into his stint, so he's for it. And I just
no longer a lap apart, by the way. They're on the same lap.
1 minute 24. But on the restart there, I know it's quick in a straight line, but the V8 Racing Corvette took 5 cars before he got down to Tarzan. Then he was a little bit cautious on his tyres, but he was using a good bit of his brain there to pick a few off.
We could see actually a concertinaing of second, third and fourth in the next 20 to 30 minutes, because Rick Abresh has got, if he wants to, I think he's probably got 20 to 25 minutes still in the Corvette. Christian Frankenhoek, we know, can wheel a car. He's only 15 minutes or so into that stint, and there's not an awful lot of time between 9, 5 and 2, second, third and fourth on the timing screen at the moment. The big gap, of course, is at the head of the field, where Renger van der Zande in that 33 car has pulled away. It's Lionel Amarouche back in the GC Automotive 88, the red BMW-shaped car that leads SP2, but now only by 50 seconds from Frederik Lestrup in the Audi, and he's done his second stop, has Frederik, today. So they are on the same amount of pit stops. They've just come out of the pits almost together. 5 minutes for Lionel, has been in the car, and 7 minutes for Frederik. So that's a real battle for SP2.
Just something happened while you were talking there. The Corvette, the one and only Corvette with Rick Abresh, who was right on it when we had the green flag. He put his left wheels over where we think there's glass or whatever. Diving down the inside of someone into Hugenholzbock. I hope it's just actually reflective plastic, because otherwise we could be having a puncture just as he's trying to make his charge after Jaromir Jirisch to get into second place.
Other class leaders, Mathieu Sentis in the Peugeot 208 GTI, that's the number 205 car, confusingly, is in 9th position. His teammate is second in that category, and not that far, no, he's a lap and a bit actually away. That's Vincent Rademacher, who is in the 208 car. SP3 leader Tony Hughes has been in the car for well over an hour now since his last stop. That is the Ginetta 105. He's in 12th position. Martin van der Berg in the Seat Leon Supercopa, the A3T 2-litre turbo. That is the 42 car leading A3T down in 16th position, or in 16th position. Jan-Beck Andersen in the number 106 Clio, leading A2 by just a minute now over Jens Hansen in the 48 car. That is the HM Motorsport Peugeot. And I said that was a decent battle, and that's come back together again. I think that Jan Beck owes us a pit stop. He's certainly been in the car for half an hour longer than the Peugeot has been out. In D1, Andreas Kempf in the Golf Diesel leads the 71 car. And that's your leaders. That's all your leaders. Still all in the top 27.
Yeah, just looking at how fast people settled down again to their running speed after the green lap. Christian Frankenhout, 1 minute 42. That's a very, very quick lap. One of the fastest laps set all race. And he's done that, picking his way through traffic on cold tyres.
Vincent Rademacher once again.
Chipping away.
As soon as he gets into the car, he drives it, getting the best out of the tyres early on in the 208 GTI, the number 208 GTI. I'm going to confuse myself here. He's been in the car for half an hour, just over. He's just come off a fairly long cooling down area, and he's got straight back on the power again.
Running in tandem with his teammate, which is Matteo Sentis. There's a lap between them, but looks like the pace, actually only by a fraction of a second. Rademacher, it seems a very well-balanced team, the Team Altran Peugeot 208 GTIs, but certainly Vincent marginally faster. Waiting to see the gap now between Renger van der Zande and Jaromir Djuric, which will go out because Renger is the quicker of the drivers in the 33 Mercedes than the second of the Czech drivers in the number 9 Prague Racing Ferrari 458.
Just looking down the field to see who else is doing what and to whom. As we're coming off that code 60, it's just people sorting themselves out. There goes the 105 of Tony Hughes past on my right hand side and down into Tarzan. I'm always slightly surprised, if I'm honest. I mean, I think we've said this at Dubai as well, that we don't see more Ginettas. They are a very, very cost-effective car. The G50s, certainly effective, even the G30s. But certainly the 50s and the 55, there's a GT4 sort of version of the G55. And they are, I'm not going to say cheap, because nothing in motorsport is, but in terms of how much things are to buy, they are significantly less expensive. And Nick Damon has just walked up. Just turn your mic on, Nick.
And he just said, "This is so good," with a mouthful of food.
This is I've just come to get a sandwich. I apologise not being in the pit lane. This is fantastic.
Every window you look out, there is action.
Is that it? Well, yeah.
It is like being...
Get out of the pits, Bruce.
It is like being in a control tower at an airport, isn't it? You can pretty much say everything. Nick is wide-eyed and very happy at the moment as he's having his pit stop. And, yeah, as I say, the Ginetta, you know, Lawrence Tomlinson and the guys up there at Garforth in the north of England at Leeds, doing a smashing job in there. It's all right, I've got it. I'm recycling. And those cars are considerably less expensive than some of the competition and some of the more exotic competition. And, you know, it's a V6 Ford crate motor.
Yeah.
It does what it comes out of a minivan, actually. And basically, all you do is bolted into the car. They don't even bother rebuilding him because it's cheaper to just buy a new motor and bung a new motor in.
Yeah, but also just looking at the performance characteristics of the car, this is almost the perfect circuit for it. Just with enough twists and gradient changes. Circuit, you know, straight's not super long. 106, is he leading that
That is the leader in class. That is Jan Beck Andersen. I thought he might also pit stop.
That's A2, that's the junior class, but 19th overall as the Danish driver brings his entry into the pits.
This is the car that won its class at Dubai, with Jakob Christensen in the driving stint. Now, the three drivers in that car, where have they gone? I've managed to lose them on the... It's Jakob and Jan Engelbrecht and Jan Beck Andersen. I think Jan Beck has the least experienced of the drivers, and they were not worried, but certainly just letting him play himself in. And it seems to have gone all right at the moment. There's tyres going on that car. And again, as we've seen with a lot of the front-wheel drive pocket rockets, it's just the front tyres. New pair of Hankooks going on to that Renault Clio, which I think was white when we saw it at Dubai. And Nick says
Okay, just while you're just having a little think on that, Jeroen Moll has just set the fastest lap today, 1 minute 41.711. So that's best than the number 2 has produced. But Christian Frankenhout lapping 1 minute 42.4 as he's trying to close in on Rick Abrecht for third place. And Abrecht will be bringing the V8 Racing Corvette in. He's just starting another lap. Should be in the next handful of laps. His lap stint so far, this stint is 1 minute and 10 seconds, sort of really out of sync with the others. The two cars ahead of him, Renger van der Zande in the 33 Mercedes and Jaromir Juric in the number 9 Ferrari, have respectively 20 minutes on their stint time and 15. They have got a long way to go, but Rick Abrecht will be coming in very soon. What is coming in right now is number 47, another Danish racing, Danish entered Renault Clio RS 47, just looking on the timesheets.
Third in class.
Third in class. Sonny Nielsen bringing that in. So
that is all that battle, the A2 battle. Jensi Hansen will go back through into the lead now of A2. This is the battle, and it seems to be an all Danish battle there, doesn't it? 106, 48 and 47, all battling together. 47 being the DK Racing Renault Clio RS. The 48 HM Motorsport car of Jensi Hansen with René Hageden and... there's two Jensi Hansens. I wonder if that's a junior and a senior, or they've just written the name twice. But that is that Peugeot is listed as a 1600. If that is the case, I wonder, is that because it's a turbocharged car? Maybe
that slides it up a thing.
Yeah.
Right, we've got a new fastest lap of today's segment. 1 minute 41.4. Christian Frankenhout. The track's obviously in great nick. Obviously, all that oil has now been cleaned up at various points, and the quick drivers perhaps are just in the cars at the right moment. 55 seconds now behind Rick Abrecht is the number 2 Mercedes, the car that's led this race pretty much through all of yesterday and had its moments today, but has lost that bit of ground. Out of sequence pitting. The number 2, 55 seconds behind. Remember that interval, but I think Abrecht could spoil our little study of the chase by coming into pit very soon for V8 racing. And he's carrying on out round Tarzan in the thick of gaggle of traffic. As Nick has come up here, he'll just notice how many gaggles of traffic we have, and at various points you can see about 8 different points around the circuit, and I can guarantee you'll probably see as someone kicks up some dust on the back straight there. 5 of them will have cars in great big gaggles around, so the drivers just don't get a chance to relax here at all.
Hello to Gary Milner, who's been here at the track at Zandvoort watching this race live. He's had to leave because he's working tomorrow and has to iron his shirts. He says, thank goodness for Radio Le Mans, I'll be back soon. Let us know, Gary.
Oh, ironing is so last decade, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Get Nick to do it for you. I think that's the thing you have to do. He normally does it while watching NASCAR, don't you?
Yeah, I need some NASCAR race for ironing.
Yes. You can't, even when he comes in, he still has to contribute. 71 leading its class is the D1. Andreas Kempf in the Swiss Golf Mark V. Very, very black on the back of that car. It is a diesel, but even so, it's overfueling that car, I would say, or it's burning oil and it's mixing out of the back with something. It is a white car, plain white car, the 71, heading to the far side of the circuit from us at the moment. But it is very black, almost as if someone has painted the back of it black. This is the TTC Racing Swiss entered Golf.
It was exactly like that in Dubai. Obviously a 24-hour race, but it was incredibly grubby.
Yes.
Well, not at the end, in the middle.
It is. I tell you what, it impresses me every time we see these races, Bruce, and it doesn't matter whether we're at Dubai when there are more, quote unquote.
Oh dear, one of our friends, the Risi Racing
pole sitter,
and really dominated. Had a three lap advantage in the first 3 hours yesterday evening, but looks like that's over and out. It's driving through the access road between the inner paddock and the outer paddock, and so I'm afraid going home early. The Belgian entered team with Jan de Vocht, Johan van Loo and Wim Molders will be racing no more.
That is the multicoloured BMW 1 Series. Yeah, I was going to say, even when we were at Dubai, which is clearly the Blue Ribbon event for Creventic at the start of the year, we have more professional teams there, but it is the respect that is given to everybody on the track. Everybody said it would never work, this type of racing, and the more you mix in professionals, the less it's going to work. Actually, that's not happened, and in some ways, bringing more professional teams and drivers in has made everyone else up their game, I think.
It has too, but this is a very different mixture of drivers. at Dubai, it is really, really cutthroat at the top end. But this way, we have as much respect for the teams in A2 and D1 as we do in the top teams. They have as much right to be out here on the circuit, and the drivers have to be sensible. Of course, there are huge closing speed differentials, and yes, you hear the odd comment about I have to watch out for the taxi drivers, but that's just from someone in a sports car, a GT looking at a car with a roof and a boot.
Yeah.
But no, I've been impressed with the driving standards.
I do think there's an element about this, and when you talk to the pro drivers, Matt Griffin, who, as everyone who listens to us knows, that is a near neighbour to me in Thrapston, talking about Dubai, and he says, look, we're in very powerful, very fast cars, it's a lot of fun. Surely passing cars is what we got into motor racing about, and the skill of passing a slower car is different from the skill of racing with someone for position in a similar power car, but it's still a skill, and everyone's out there having fun. If you wanted to do just one class racing, then you go and do one class racing. This is the essence of multi-class racing, and it's the challenge that you have to do. Rob Barth saying exactly the same. I wouldn't want for the 24 hours of Dubai to be a solely GT3 race. It would take something away from it.
Oh, it definitely would. And just saying earlier, John, how it gives the drivers a chance to get their eye in for the season ahead. It certainly does that very, very thing. And some of the skills they'll be picking up, and just the practices. As the gap, we pointed out the gap. In fact, Jaromir Juric is losing ground to Renger van der Zande. No concerns there. But the big gap that's coming down is Christian Frankenhout, still in 4th place. Rick Abrecht will be pitting soon, but gaining all the time behind him is Frankenhout, who will go up to 3rd place very soon indeed. Not on the track, but in the race order. Yeah,
and I think Juric has been caught by Abrecht as well. But it's just a question of how much fuel is left in the tank of the Corvette.
Meanwhile, we can give you Gullwing update. Moving up from 35th to 34th is Kenneth Heyer with the door. I just had a look at the roof. The Gullwing door that was errant and not off its hinges, Nick, but certainly askew, is sitting pretty at the moment. I won't say that because, of course, yesterday we had Renger van der Zande suddenly having a little more ventilation in the cockpit of number 33 than he would have liked. He managed to get the door back down from flying high. It certainly was a different sort of aerofoil, the sort that might have been put on in 1968 as they tried all sorts in Formula One, but anyhow, he corrected the problem. So, leading the race by 20, it's a lap and 20 odd seconds, is Renger van der Zande, the number 33 Mercedes. Ferrari in 2nd place, number 9 Prague racing car, Rick Abrecht 3rd for the Corvette, but gaining ground very fast indeed is Christian Frankenhout in the number 2 Hofer Racing Mercedes that led the way early on and is fighting its way back towards the front end.
There is Rick Abrecht at the moment going through 1, 2, 3 Clios and a Seat, and just in behind him Frederick Lestrup in the 2nd place SP2 car, absolutely gaining hand over fist on Lionel Amrouche in the 88 GC Automotive leading class SP2. So that's 7th and 8th, 88, the red BMW with it looks like a 3 Series BMW with a strange rear end on it. That's good because it's a mid-engine kind of car. It is a silhouette, and behind it I think, very good looking TT RS. I am going to try and get the responsible adult to get the body kit on hers to look like that. I think that would look very, very fetching on the streets of Thrapston. And they're down to 12 seconds now between 1st and 2nd. If I can pick them out on the track, actually. Normally easy to pick out the... somebody coming very slowly out of Lyondike. Yeah, driver's right and heading for pit lane.
We're dazzled by the light, the sunshine off its windscreen. Can't complain. But
is that a Mercedes-Benz?
It's a Mercedes.
It is a Mercedes-Benz and it's got a black roof.
It's 1 or 2.
Is it Christian Frankenhout?
It's someone he was going side to side. Has the door sprung up? Can't quite see. No, the door seems to be down.
If it's the door, it would be the 1. I think that's Christian Frankenhout, isn't it, with the white mirrors?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, he's in the pit
number
lane.
2, he was chasing around. He was closing down on Rick Abrecht for 3rd place. This is the car that really, theoretically, has the ultimate pace.
Well, this is not a scheduled pit stop. I say that. I wonder if he's got a puncture or a slow puncture, because tyres were ready for him straight away. They're looking under the back at the right-hand side of the car. The right-hand rear wheel is somewhat recalcitrant, and it's now taken off, but they're clearly not happy with something at the right rear.
But whatever it was, his lap times were very good until that previous lap. We don't know what happened on this one.
Just caught him coming very slowly out the final corner. What was his last lap time coming in?
Well,
the
it's now
it's
obscured because of coming into the pits, but his previous lap was a 1 minute 42.8.
Yeah, all right. I think that's going into the pit box. They've got the dolly wheels out. This is more drama for Hofer. Oh, the Swiss team have had no luck whatsoever. Dominated qualifying, dominated the first hours of the race, running 1 and 2 for so long. The number 1 car with a gearbox issue and dropping way down to 44th and 24 laps off the pace overnight. And now the remaining bullet in the Hofer gun is back into the pit lane and into the garage.
Gosh, and just when we thought the team was very, very clever in putting all its bad luck on one of its cars, it's now started to spread to the other. So it's hit number 2 as well. This is great news for the Car Collection Motorsport team with Renger van der Zande really building a very healthy lead. Who can respond? The only person who was really likely to respond was Christian Frankenhout. Of course, we've still got Peter Cox to go back in the number 9 Ferrari, but he is certainly carrying the Praha Racing team. He's 3 seconds a lap or so faster than his teammates, but as we've seen at any moment in a race such as this, as the number 9 Ferrari goes through Hugenhoch round the outside of the 105 Ginetta that is still running incredibly well in 12th place in Tony Hughes' hands, but Jurek does not have the pace of Renger van der Zande, so it's all going to fall very squarely on the shoulders of Peter Cox.
And in about 7 minutes, we're going to see Gustav Edelhoff in the number 3 Mercedes-Benz go back up into 4th position for the first time in a very long time.
Yeah, the number 3, that's the sister car to the race leading 33, has just not had the ultimate pace, but it's been steady, it's been constant, and that's what is clearly required at the moment to pick off the bottom podium position. But the top podium position, it looks though Renger van der Zande is holding his hand up and certainly saying, I want a stake of this. He said to me at the start of the meeting yesterday that this is a bit of fun. You know, I'm racing with no disrespect, with gentleman drivers, but it's just fabulous to be back here at a circuit that clearly was so important in the formative days of Renger's career before he went truly international.
2 minutes flat for Jakob Christensen in the number 106 Clio that he's just taken over. He's dropped back to 2nd position in A2. It's the Jensi Hansen driven 48 Peugeot RCZ that leads the A2 category. And he's dropped, let me see, he has dropped 2 laps coming in for that pit stop. But Jakob back in that car. It's always I always find it slightly off-putting when somebody says, "Are you John from Radio Le Mans?" Which is what happened this morning when I walked out of the lift on the way to breakfast, and it was Jakob.
Oh, okay.
He said, "I don't think I've met you before." I said, "No, I think I've spoken to you though." And introduced himself, had a good chat about what was going on. As I say, class winners from Dubai in that car, sporting a different colour scheme, the 106. But they have done a bit of work in it. In fact, he's just going up the hill in front of us now in what is now a black Clio. Very much a standard Clio Cup car when they were in Dubai. Has been gently warmed, just breathed on, just to make it a little bit more user-friendly and give it a little more pace. I mean, you can pick up that version of Clio Cup cars for not a lot of money at all now. Into the pit lane comes one of the legion of BMWs.
27 BMW, which wasn't running so well yesterday. That's the German Wheels M3, which is number 27, as I've just said. It's down towards the tail end, you'll find it. 41st position. So 8th in the A5 class. So right towards the tail of that group. 3 fastest cars on the track. No prizes awarded to tell you that Renger van der Zande is at the wheel of the fastest, lapping in the 1 minute 43. He's lapping in the 1 minute 40. Oh, even faster last time around. 1 minute 42.4 is Jeroen Mull, who had that tussle with him out on the circuit, if not for overall position. And Jeroen has got the Leipzig Motorsport Lamborghini Gallardo up to 6th overall. He's now 13 seconds only behind the number 3 Mercedes, the second of the Car Collection Motorsport cars, and also going well down towards the tail, but rising slowly in the number 1 Mercedes from Hofer Racing is Kenneth Heyer, who's certainly been putting in good lap times, but he is on 155. He's 36 laps down. Sorry, 26 laps adrift. They lost 24 laps overnight, and with a few further problems, most notably with the door. The gull-wing door, they do not want to lose any more. Another pit caller, Speed Lover. That's the other Speed Lover car. That's the white and lime green Porsche number 17, which is running Off the top screen, that's Philippe Richard bringing that in from 29th place in SP2, 8th in SP2, so down towards the tail. That was the car that had the exciting moment at Tarzan yesterday, went
yes.
almost all the way up through the gravel trap towards the advertising hoardings and took a while to come back down again.
Yes, gravity was its friend yesterday. Renger van der Zande by 21 seconds on lap 183 with 5.5 hours still to go. Leads the motor race.
21 plus a lap. But we're waiting for Juric to complete another lap, and then the more accurate time will come through. We do occasionally give you times that seem quite remarkable because that's what we see on our screen. But
yeah,
you
sorry
do have
about
adjustment.
The rest of the leaders, Lionel Amarouche, now his lead cuts to just 5.7 seconds. The GC Automotive red silhouette car and the 86 5-cylinder 2.5 litre Audi TT. I'll see if we can pick those up on the track the next time they come through. They're due through shortly. The place I need to be looking for them is all sunny at the moment, which is lovely for everybody out in the dunes. There we are. I think that's the GC Automotive car coming out the final corner there. Is that the... no, that's the Zest Motorsport Seat. That'll tell you how bad the issues with shiny cars are. Still lots of shiny cars out there, which is nice. Let's see if we can catch him coming into the chicane. There he is. He's just coming through. He'll be coming out of the final corner any second now, out of Arie Luyendyk bocht onto the start-finish straight, the dark red number 88 of Lionel Amarouche. It was 5 seconds last time around. How close is the white and green Audi of Frederik Lustrup, who is battling him for the class lead? The Audi's in the pits. The Audi is in the pits as the leader in class goes through Tarzan. Well, that has rather robbed us of that battle. Lionel Amarouche has been in the car 28 minutes. I didn't think Fred Lestrup had been in that long. There's tyres and a driver waiting for him as he comes in. Pulls in right underneath, a little too close to the right-hand side, if anything, of the drivers, Nick says.
Last time they were in, they just took a penalty and then drove back out again.
That's right. Thank you for
reminding me.
It looks
like we're getting a driver change, or is he just tightening his belts? He doesn't look as though he's getting it himself. That should be Martin Schornier, who is the owner of that team.
I think they're going for a new set of. They're going for a new set of tyres. I think he's had a vibration or something in that car, and they're just checking tyres because they've changed one tyre on the left front. They offered the right front, but I didn't see it go on. It might have out of my vision, but they're now looking underneath at the back, and here is more drama. It's being pushed away to save the clutch. It fires the 5-cylinder motor with that slightly offbeat rumble that only odd inline numbers have, and Nick will be getting very used to in the next few weeks when his new Triumph, I've got to get this right,
Bonneville
Explorer, Tiger Explorer 1200. And thank you, by the way, to Guy and the rest of our friends up at Hinckley. Triumph Motorcycles, part of the Radio Le Mans family last year, and therefore remain so. And we wish them well in their new efforts, and some more new machinery we hear coming out shortly from Triumph, as in comes the GC
89.
Yeah, that is the slightly less well placed of
Gunter
the two
Deutsch,
cars.
21st overall, 6th in SP2. I thought the bodywork looked a little straighter until the last Code 60, and I watched it in detail down the start-finish straight, and it's still fair few degrees twisted from the back end. Nick found out for us that one of the mountings has obviously had a little encouragement from behind by someone else. No, a lot of encouragement from behind.
And as a BMW rider, I'm getting news from the Isle of Man TT.
Did they accept your entry?
No, they didn't. But on a BMW, Dunlop has set a new lap record of 131.73 miles an hour from a standing start.
Doesn't bear thinking about.
That's bonkers, isn't it? Even for me, that is bonkers.
Some people miss out on all the evolutionary stages, don't they?
I remember when it was barely 100 mile an hour lap around there. Do you remember when Tony Pond lapped the TT circuit in a Rover SD1 Vitesse touring car type thing and just managed to do it over 100 miles an hour average in a car and boiled the power steering fluid? There was a promotional film And I do mean film made of that, of Tony swearing a lot, trying to hustle it through the last half of the lap.
Well, the Clermont-Ferrand circuit at Charade, or the Charade circuit at Clermont-Ferrand, I remember just a handful of laps and we had to pull over because we could no longer see the front of whichever cars we were in were slightly masked by some steam and other bits and bobs. What a great circuit, though.
The hashtag for this event, by the way, is hashtag 12H ZV. If you want to get in the conversation. Don't have the tweet deck up at the moment. We are being slightly hampered by technology, but you can still tweet me at Specutainment, and the BlackBerry is providing a decent backup.
While we're talking about things going well on the track for Renger van der Zande and the Martini liveried 33 Mercedes.
Has there ever been a bad Martini liveried car? It's almost impossible, isn't it, to make a car look worse by putting those stripes on it.
But you know what? I'm always very wary when someone loves a livery and then it gets puts on different shapes of cars and people then love that car, but actually is it a good livery for the second or third gestation of the livery? But I particularly like, and I always preferred the white Martini livery to the red one when it was on the Brabhams.
Yeah.
To me, that worked. And I think the red one worked, but largely because of the shape of the car, the BT45 that it went on.
That was the Brabham Alpha, wasn't it?
Yeah, the very, very wide tail end. It somehow helped it. But I just want to talk about who's in the garage. Max Cobalt, the 76 Nissan, the Nissan Nederland entry, it's listed as 50th out of 51. We only had 51 starters this morning. We lost the Saxon Motorsport 5-litre 1 Series BMW overnight. But that has been in the garage now for 3 hours and 2 minutes. How long have we been racing today? About 3 hours. And it started from the pit garage this morning, had a dry shaft change overnight and many other things. That may not be going any further, so Max Cobalt will be disappointed. We know that 52, Jan de Vocht, that was the Risi Racing BMW. We've seen that driven away out of the infield of the circuit, so that's gone back to its transporter, is out of the race. Rick Breukers, 73. That is the Red Camel, certainly on it. So it's not really a good day for the Red Camel team.
No.
Because obviously they've had problems with 104, the sister car, the Audi.
Well, I think they're both in the pits at the moment.
Yeah, they are. Listed as 46th and 47th positions for Ivo and Rick Breukers. So one in the SB3 class, one in the D1s.
The battle, by the way, for the lead in the SP2 category is still there, because despite having... he's out. Martin Schronier is now taking over the Audi, the TT, and I need to have him have a lap if he hasn't come round for the lap. That's why I was thinking it was still there. We go. Thank you. He's about 4 minutes behind Lionel Amarouche, maybe a little bit more in the 88 GC automotive car. So that is going to see again. Once you get away and you get these cars that are on different strategies, it's amazing how the ebb and flow works. Who's going to be next in? Well, it should be Rick Abrech, who was closed to within about 25 seconds of second place in the Ferrari. Well, so that's Ferrari versus Corvette there, but he will be coming in shortly.
He will indeed, John, but don't forget, not about 20 minutes ago, we had the Ferrari bottled up behind the Corvette, albeit a lap ahead overall. But once Rick Abrech had got past, he really, really made up good ground. So he's gained 3/4 of a lap in the past half hour in that Corvette. But yes, 1 minute 33, 3 minutes this stint for him. He will be coming in very soon from third place in the big Corvette.
Jakob Christensen puts another personal best in for the 106 car in his pursuit of the Peugeot RCZ. 48 leads it with Jens Hansen at the wheel, but now by less than half a minute, 2 minutes, 0.242 for Jakob Christensen. And it's taken 7.3 seconds out of the lead in that lap. And Jens due in. Well, no, Jens has only been in that car for 58 minutes. Those little cars tend to do around about an hour and 15, hour and 20.
Any lap time for an A2 class car below 2 minutes is very good indeed. And I just noticed the lap before, Casper Jensen, who's chasing his fourth in A2, in another of the Renault Clio RSs for DK Racing events, he did a 1 minute 59.8 or 58.9. Again, slightly caught in traffic, and we know with these smaller class cars, you lose a bit of momentum, and it can take a little while to pick it up again. So it's looking very competitive in A2.
Yeah, the third place car, which we haven't mentioned there, is the Team Sally Racing. They were doing great, and that's got Mads Christensen Nana Goche, Peter Obel and Martin Sally Pedersen at the wheel. They were doing well yesterday and kind of dropped down a bit, but now back up into the top 3 of that battle for A2. And I've got a feeling it's per many 3 of those 4 that we've just mentioned for the podium, as in comes one of the Mark Focuses. It's one of the green and white ones. So does that make it the
92? 92.
Okay.
That's the least well placed of them, because at the moment they're placed. 93 is 10th overall, 91 is 14th, and 92 is on the next screen. This screen, 26th, Michael Benton. So he is 7th in SP2. They'll
be happy they're still going round. They are effectively a rolling billboard for that car, rolling advertisement for that car.
So they're running 3rd, 4th and 7th in the SP2 class, but 92, the one that's just pitted, is some distance behind the others, 10 laps and more.
So Nick's just deciding whether he wants to stay up here for a while or go back to the pits.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a bit of horse trading going on. 20 minutes to 2 just before here at... are you going to give him your headset as well, are you? Well, Bruce has got his own earphones, I think. Brought them with him, yeah. The leader is still Renger van der Zande, and we've got a problem for car number 39, which is the Blendini Motorsport Z3M. Did not have the best of runs yesterday, and it's sitting down in 45th position, 4th in A4T, and it stopped, I think, right at the start of the lap. There's a yellow flag down there at the moment. Yes, it's in the gravel, right in the middle of Tarzan, and is being pushed backwards by intrepid marshals. That is very, very brave stuff, as the Blendini Motorsport car continues its trials and tribulations and is about to regain the black hard part of the circuit rather than the sand-coloured soft part of the circuit, off to driver's left at Tarzan. If you could only see what was going on in the booth at the moment. We very nearly set up a camera here. Something that we're working on for Le Mans with one of our potential partners, to put the llama cam back together. Through goes the MG, running nicely. And there's another car that you could easily spend not a lot of money on to go racing. The MG ZR, or ZS should I say. Oh no, it is the ZR, excuse me. It's the 99 DC Motorsport Rover, or MG ZR, in Class A2. And that 99 car, not setting the world alight in fairness, but sitting in 9th position in A2, still running, Robin Walker behind the wheel in 42nd position, which is very nice. Welcome to Nick Damon, to the booth.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's even better than the fantastic views. I've got all of Bruce's notes here.
Yeah, so you're going to look like Diamond.
Yeah, well, that's the red camel car here. It's going really well.
Yeah. So Bruce is now making the journey down the precarious journey down the stairs. There goes the TTRS into Tarzan, stays up high on the banking, then cuts down to the second apex of that 180-degree left-hander, and immediately hard on the power. There's a gaggle of about 8 or 10 cars as he comes through the Gerlachbocht and into Hugenholz right in front of us. Hunsrück is the little kink, left-hander, then Schlottmacherbocht through the right-hander, still climbing at this point, and then down through the compression up to the long right-hander before you drop down into Mastersbosch, and the imaginatively named turns 9 and 10.
It was going so well to them, wasn't it?
Yeah. Hans Ernstbocht is the heavy braking for the chicane, which is just over the top of that Pepsi Max sign. So they're up over there at the moment. Well, I'm pointing to Nick here.
That's sharper than it looks, isn't it?
Yes.
You can only see the first half of that chicane, because then it goes dives down.
Very, very tight there, but it does open up the second half, down the straight towards the first part of the second, the first part of the last corner, which is Kumo, and then Ali Lyondijk brings you back onto the start-finish straight. So Nick's seeing this all for the first time, very wide-eyed he is at the moment. And 4.3 kilometres in 1 minute and 46 seconds if you are Renger van der Zande, although Jeroen Mul in the Lamborghini is back on form with a 42.9 last time around, and that is hauling.
And that's in a positional battle now with the delayed car 2, the erstwhile leader who came in for a problem a few minutes ago. That's now just 22 seconds between the two. They're on the same lap. They're both unfortunately 7 laps off the lead though. Yeah,
but that could easily turn into a battle for, you know, a podium position, as Rick Abrecht, by the way, has come into the pit lane. Bruce, are you down there?
I am. I'm by the empty garage. Just waiting to see where Rick has gone to. He came in and they did the driver change, and he's gone off for refueling before I could even get down here. So they were nice and quick, no problems at all. I'll try and get Rick out to talk to us.
He'd got within about 3 seconds of second place.
Well, it was a great battle. Yeah. It was a great battle with the Ferrari.
But as we thought, he would run out of time and fuel before he ran out of pace. Jaromir Jarish still in second place, but not on the lead lap anymore. It's only Renger van der Zande who is on lap number 192, which is the lead lap. Still watching this battle, Lionel Amarouche and Martin Chaunier in respectively the 88 GC Automotive, the red car, with the 86 behind it. That's the Audi, the white and green Audi. Let's see if we can pick them up, because that is now down to under 4 seconds.
That's the bright red.
Yes, the
GC Automotive car, the car that's actually still running straight.
And I think we can see them just coming down the back at the moment, because I can see 2 cars with headlights flashing. Yes, and the second one is definitely the Audi. That's even without the binoculars that I didn't left. Again. Yeah, that I once again forgot.
Oh, it's really hard. He's lost a lot of time then. The Audi, they're right together now because he had to let through a GT3 car.
That's Lionel Amarouche then that Nick is talking about, and he is holding on to 7th position, but the lead in SP2 is they head round to the final 2 corners of their lap number 182, and it is battle joined. Amarouche has been in the car for 43 minutes. Martin Chaunier only for 11.
Well, you don't come into the pits, John, unless you've done about 1 minute 40 in the car, 1 hour 40 minutes, and I have Rick Abrecht, who's just come in from 3rd place. Rick, a very good stint. You had a fantastic battle with the Ferrari. Yeah. That must have been fun.
I had a lot of fun with him, and I think he was biting in his steering wheel, because the whole time he was a bit faster here, and on the end I was a bit faster. But then after, I think 15 laps, the team said to me, let him go, otherwise you're destroying the tires. So that's what I did. Let him go.
But he was 1 lap ahead of you on overall time.
I know he's 1 lap ahead of us, so that's why I had so much fun. I didn't want to make it 2, but I have to. So.
Now, what condition is the track in? There's been a lot of oil put down.
It's a lot of oil, dirt, and the driving line is getting smaller and smaller the whole time. But still, it's great to do.
Who's taken over the Corvette from you?
Diederik Seithoff is now in the car, and he should be faster than us, so maybe we can gain another place. I don't know.
Well, it looked good and it sounded great. Good stint from Rick Abrecht. Thank you.
Now, whilst Bruce was talking, 2 things of note. The Audi's gone into the lead of SP2 because Lionel Amarouche, excuse me, has pitted after just 45 minutes in the 88 GC Automotive. That's too early. That is too early for that car.
I'll be watching that. They've not given it any tyres. They are looking into the front right of the car. There's a front right issue. Well, mechanics are rocking the car back down again. It's gone up. It's had no tyres. It's just popped back down onto the apron again.
I wonder if they've been having gearbox issues with that car. And also, Patrick Wolf has gone into the barriers hard, right underneath us here in the entrance to Hugenholzbocht. In the number 50 Renault Clio, the 33rd place and 7th in A2. He's wiped the front end off that car. He's got it going. I have no doubt he will get it back to the pits, but it's not going to polish out.
And the 88 left after that, and that stopped. There was no tyres, no driver change, nor was there any fuel taken. So it was purely a what on earth's wrong with this car? Why isn't it handling properly anymore? And an inspection and look, concentrated mainly, I say, on the front right of the machine, which you can see is actually currently held on with copious amounts of duct tape as it now accelerates away up towards Schlottenbocht.
Schlottenbacher.
I can see myself having great fun with the pronunciations around here.
I'd rather you didn't. The leader then continues in the 45.5 second bracket, 1 minute 45.5 second bracket. Renger van der Zande has been in for 55 minutes near enough. This has been a good run for the 86. Marshall Chaunier in the Audi TT, and with just 13 minutes, 14 minutes on his stint, Jake Camilleri is in the pits in the third place car. That's the number 93 in this SP2 battle, and that would be the Mark Cars Australia. So he's going to have a decent lead if there is a problem with the GC Automotive number 88.
Well, the 88 still scored as in the lead because he had
he hasn't come back round.
I think he had a lap lead over Martin. So is that going to flip back? Is it the next time?
Should do. It should do, because they were mere seconds behind on the track.
I thought they were a lap in seconds actually, John.
Oh, you might be right.
In which case it was going to be very close because he was in for a while.
Now let's wait until the Audi comes through.
Here comes the GC Automotive car.
You might be right.
So he's gone past now and he's kept the lead.
Right, okay.
And he still has a lap.
Well, no, it's because the Audi hasn't come through yet.
Ah. Okay.
Or has the Audi pitted as well? No.
It's got a difference of 3 minutes up, which is interesting.
Well, here's the
Ferrari. Into the pits comes the Ginetta.
That is the Ginetta. Now that is the leader in SP3 for sure. That's Tony Hughes.
No, there's the Audi there, just going around Hugenholtz now.
Okay, then I apologise. There was a lap and a bit. So Lionel Amrouche retains the lead. And I got excited. It was a bit of Audi excitement, you see. I was blinded by the TTRS.
My feeling is that car's not well, and there's 5 hours to go. Because when you come in, have a look, don't do anything, that normally means we haven't fixed it, we just don't know what it is.
Or there's nothing we can do, and you've just got to live with it.
Live with it.
It's not handling very well round corners.
Yes.
Ah, right, yes.
Well, yeah, don't forget that the car that's currently running second has been living with a problem which would have stopped many other machines, in the fact that it's actually got a rear wing that's now a barn door rather than an aerodynamic device.
Yes.
Pit stop, as you said, number 105 has come in for the lead of SP3. That's Tony Hughes has brought the Ginetta in, and Ross Warburton's taking over.
Right.
Didn't quite disengage because the first wheel gun went on the rear and was spun round as the rear wheels were still rotating. Anyhow, that's sorted out. I'll get a word with Tony in a few minutes. The car's looking in very, very good nick, which, as you've just been discussing, is becoming increasingly rare up and down the length of the pit lane. Just a standard wheel change at the moment. Ross Warburton is strapped in and Tony Hughes is doing that walk that Nick keeps talking about, the driver feeling a bit stiff after a long stint in the car.
There's a lot of ankles that are slightly too old for the positions they've been squeezed into for an hour and a half. And I can see further down the pit lane also the MG is making one of its many regular appearances. My guess is it's probably quite near the bottom. Is it the 99 machine with Robin
Walker, 10th in A2 and 44th overall. It's fourth pit stop today.
And they had a few yesterday. I think they've had quite a bit of track time, but they've had quite a bit of pits time as well. So they've kind of run.
I mean, again, what we were saying about cost-effective motorsport, how much can you pick an old MG Cup car out for, a ZR Cup car or something like that? You're not talking a huge amount of money, are you?
No, the car itself. I mean, I'm pretty certain they would have spent more on tyres this weekend than the value of the car.
95 BMW in 37th position.
The paraplegic team.
Well, in fact, it's not in 37th position, is it?
95.
Oh, it is, yes.
37th, yeah.
Well, that's Wisniewski.
I think he'll have got out, and then he'll wait to trigger the timing beam later to give us the new driver ideas. Once again,
nearly 2 hours in the pits for that car. 1 hour 54 minutes now. Car 88, Lionel Amrouche, please check your car. It says.
Right.
So
something's scraping.
157 too. He's not hanging about, and he's pulling away from the Audi of Martin Shaunier. But please check your car. So let's check it.
He lost 6 seconds.
Oh yeah, you're right. He did.
So he's running slightly off pace, but and he's checked it, and now he's been told to check it as well. And you can just see him now. He's
Nigel Farmer in the pits, by the way.
Coming into our view as he goes down towards the Arrow Lyondike curve in a way. He's letting the number 9 Ferrari past him. It's quite nice actually. You recognise a Ferrari and you know which one it is.
Because it is the Ferrari.
Which is
a number of people tweeting.
Hang on, it's La Ferrari.
It is La Ferrari. A number of people tweeting in to say, without AF Corsa in the field, is this actually a sports car race?
It's not happening.
It's a fair point.
The 88 is carrying on going round. Perhaps that pleased. Well, I don't know whether we're on delay or perhaps they came in and checked it, and that they've done their check. The reason they pulled it in was to concur with the stewards rather than any other particular reason. But someone, a marshal, observed a problem with that 88 machine, the GC automotive car, and they said, right, we need to have a look at it. I assume they is the black and orange flag a UK only thing?
No, me, Paul. That is. We had one yesterday. In fairness,
because what you normally get when you have to check your car, it's like black and orange, big pointy at the front of it. So you come in and have a look at it, and you'll be told exactly what the issue is by the pit lane marshals.
Right, gentlemen, I said I'd try and get Tony Hughes for you. Tony, don't run away. Just he wants to go and cool down. Tony, quite a good long stint leading the SP3 class in the Ginetta. How's it going?
Yeah, not so bad. I did have one little excursion at one point, going around as a tight right, and basically I think I got it slightly wrong. A couple of laps later there was oil and everything everywhere, so maybe I hit a little bit of that. So anyway, it didn't slow me down too much. I just trying to put in pretty consistent times without going mad, really.
And the car, how's it going?
Yeah, car's going great. Yeah, no problem. I think I flat spotted the tyres when I had my little spin, but other than that, the car feels fantastic. Yeah, no problem.
We were just talking in the commentary box about how the Ginetta is just about tailor-made for a circuit with as many twists and turns as this. Would you concur with that?
Yeah, well, what's amazing to me is when you get the faster GT3 cars coming past you in a series of bends, they're actually not a lot quicker, and we've not got a lot of area. We've got quite a narrow wing at the back, and there's nothing on the front. It's amazing how well that car goes around corners, to be honest.
What are your views, your thoughts on this split 12-hour race, 3 hours on the Friday, 9 today? Do you think it's working well for you?
It means you can go out at night, doesn't it? And,
See, I always said Tony Hughes has got his priorities, right?
Yeah. Well, we had a great night last night, and after 3 hours we were in the lead and in the top 10, so it gave us something to celebrate. So we got, at least if we don't do anything today, at least we celebrated yesterday.
2 chances to celebrate, quite right. Tony Hughes, well done.
Yorkshire's finest in and of the car. Tony enjoying his run here, as is Renger van der Zande, who continues to lead the motor race by more than a lap.
The number 7's having a problem.
Well, you can't push a button that says on it.
You know I'm not allowed to press buttons after the instant in America.
You're allowed to press that button there.
Right.
Which
after the Derek Daly incident, I'm not. You know how worried you get about me and pushing buttons in the booth.
I can't believe you just stood there and pointed and allowed me to turn your mic on a single.
Anyway, the number 7, which was my point, he's having some issues. He's come in twice the SLS in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, well, the driver's just got out. That was Nigel Farmer, I think, climbing out. Driver change, no new tyres. It's just a driver change there.
It was Nigel, yeah.
And Gianluca Dorenzi, full of gesticulation. So I guess by process of elimination, it must be Norbert Powell's taking over.
I've got a feeling, by the way, Bruce, that Ross Warburton, if he's out of the fuelling area, which I think he is, I need to see him go around. I think he's held on to the lead of SP3. He's dropped out to 15th. They've run in the top 10, but I think he's held on to the lead.
I expected him to, because it was a good enough, well, just about good enough gap to do so. I'm just taking my first walk down to that refueling area. Just going past the MGZR, that's still sitting in here. Only a handful of people working under the bonnet. I'll just find out what the problems are with that and get back to you.
It's down in the pits, that's Bruce Jones. Nick Damon is alongside me. I'm John Hindorf. This is RadioLeMans.com live from the Hankook 12 Hours of Zandvoort. Let's give you a rundown as we're getting within 5 minutes or so of the completion of another hour of racing. Actually, a little bit closer than that because we started just before the hour. Renger van der Zande is on lap 100 and, well, he's completed lap 198. Jaromir Jedic in the second place, number 9. This is the Ferrari, the Team Prague Ferrari is on lap number 196 completed. With 193 completed in third place, Dietrich Seethoff in the number 5 V8 Racing Corvette is in third position. 191 laps completed. Christian Frankenhut in the number 2, the Hofer Racing Swiss entered Mercedes. Jeroen Muhl in the number 10 Lamborghini is in 5th position. He's just a half a minute or thereabouts behind Christian. And rounding off the top 6, all A6 GT3 cars, Gustav Edelhoff in the second of the Car Collection Motorsport Mercedes-Benz, teammate of the 33, the leader. Leading SP2 at the moment and in 7th position overall on lap number 187 completed, Lionel Amrouche is being caught by 5 or 6 seconds a lap by Martin Schoenier, who has just jumped into the 86 Audi TT RS. And this is a cracking battle that's been going on for quite some time. The GC Automotive 88 car leading then SP2 with the Audi in behind it. In 9th position, 186 laps completed, is Matteo Sentis in the number 205 Peugeot 208 GTI, with in 10th position his teammate Vincent Rademacher in the 208 number 208 GTI, and he now is just 1 minute and 17 seconds behind. They are both in A5 and they are in positions 1 and 2. The next class leader, Ross Warburton, has just taken over the Ginetta number 105. He's in 14th position on 182 laps. And the next SP3 car is where? Is Charko Yeltsin in the 21. And he is a ways down the field. Now, where is he? 17th position, and he's on lap number 180. Where's our next leader? Oh yes, this is the great battle that's going on at the moment. Jens Hansen and Jakob Christensen. 48, the Peugeot RCZ, is in 20th position, leading A2, and Jakob Christensen is in the number 106 Black Clio. Now, there is a lap between them at the moment, and the times are bouncing backwards and forwards between them depending on whether they are being passed or they've got clear air. And the third place car is next in line, although a further lap back, with Peter Obel at the wheel of the number 53 A2 car,
John,
which is Team Sally Racing in their Renault Clio. Bruce?
Sorry, if I could cut in, the 205 entered 208 GTI has come in. It hasn't driven into its garage, but you may be able to see it parked sort of nose into the garage, bonnet up, trying to sort that one out. Came in from 9th place, and just while I remember, as the BMW pulls out in front of the Lamborghini, is the 99 MG ZR. Had its problems, it had a power lead shear, and they've sorted that out, back into the race.
The A3T leader is Moni Krant in the Seat Leon Super Copa. He's done 180 laps, and his nearest competitor is Guy Bessem in the 41, which is the similar car for NKPP Racing, Baz Coton Racing leading that category. And I think, oh no, the D1 of course. Now that's been bouncing backwards and forwards between Andreas Kamp in the Golf, the 71 car, but in the pits at the moment is Spencer van der Pal in the 75. And so back in the lead for the moment. He may just lose that on the pit stops. That's the SVDP Racing that Spencer van der Pal is racing with Wubbe Hela in the BMW 120. And that's how it looks at the moment as we just come up to 2 o'clock in the afternoon here in Central Europe. We've still got 5 hours to go of the Hankook 12 Hours of Zandvoort. So let's head down to the... So let's head down to the pit lane. We've got some pit callers coming in, including the race leader, Bruce Jones.
Oh yes, I turn to my left as I come out from the Peugeot garage, and Renger van der Zande has brought number 33 in. It looks standard. He has jumped out with that vivid yellowy green helmet with stripes on of his. Can't see who's being strapped in. Just to tell you though that the Peugeot number 205 has got problems, and they're having cooling problems. That's been pushed back into the garage, and I think 208 could be coming in fairly soon as well. The 91 Mark Cars, the Ford Focus V8 has come in as well, but a very standard pit stop for the race leader. Renger still strapping in whichever his teammates it is, and putting the little net curtain back down and closing the door that so famously rose up yesterday evening and gave Renger a scare for a lap and a half. But 33 on its way. It would be if it hadn't stalled, however, and fired up again, as you can hear.
If you look up towards pit entrance, Bruce, you'll see that the number 1 car has turned up, and they've given up on that door, and they are loading and unloading the driver through the passenger door.
Yes, heading up there to see that very thing, Nick, and they've just turned the lollipop from stop to go. The hazard lights are flashing away, having a quick check of the front of the grille to see if he's got any debris in there, cleaning that out. But I think any moment now, little push start, and that will be going again.
And during the rundown, we had what was it, the 5th place man, the Leipzig Motorsport Lamborghini. Jerome Mull got out after a fantastic run. And I think it was Michael Goltz who got back in again, judging by his race suit. So he had a very short run this morning. He's now back in again, and you see that the cars are all going down to the fuel stop. So I think the fuel station was probably pretty full at the moment, Bruce. But I know
well, I looked there a few moments ago. There was only the number 7 Mercedes, and that was pulling out. Someone else pulled in, but no, there still were quite a few bays free for them. Number 39 BMW limping in as it has many times.
I saw him go around the track earlier. He's been smoking heavily.
And I wonder if that is the cause of the oil flags that I can see for a goodly way around the circuit. Indeed, it turns 7 to 10 right through the back half of the circuit almost. Oil flags are out now. Will this bring out another full course caution? Yes, it does. Code 60.
Okay, well, of the cars in the pits, I've mentioned 205 now fallen to 11th place. 88 that's been going so well in SP2, that is in the garage as well. Frenzied work on that red GC Automobiles entry. 39, they're tending to that, but yes, those purple flags are hanging from the positions. I'm looking to see if anyone's trickling into the pit lane. Yes, somewhat. No, they're not. Sorry, it's the other side of the pit wall. Trying to see but keep out of the way in this cramped garage. What's happening for 88? It's all happening at the front left-hand corner.
What's happening with did you see any fluids coming out of the BMW that limped in, the 39? Because that would be our guess for the man who's caused the oil drop, because I saw him a couple of laps earlier smoking really heavily. But again, I can't see any trail behind him as I look down the pits from our high vantage point as the 50 Renault Clio comes. That was the car that tried to run me over earlier, so I'm not even too interested in what he's going to do. There's the cars now.
It's Patrick Wolfe. He had a big shunt just down here. And took the front end off. See those skid marks on the grass and the bit of rubber there?
The press brakes didn't work, so he wasn't actually trying to run me out. It was part of the general handling issues. So yeah, as we settle down, we obviously have Rango van der Zende. He's actually now gaining out of this because he's going to get some of his pit stop for much cheaper because he's not in the same sort of time as he fuels up. Jacques will get within probably the same lap, I would think, actually, now with the number 9 machine. And the key thing about that really is that obviously Render's out of the car and he's the hot shoe in the 33. So that car's going to go slightly slower. And at some point, Peter Cox is going to get in the number 9 car and it's going to start going faster.
I think this is the 5th bit of Code 60 we had. We had just over an hour and a quarter before this one. But this is good news for the leader, Nick, because yes, you can't pull away, you can't be caught either. So if you've got your slightly less quick driver in at the moment,
Christian Brack,
what
he actually got out of it, John, was a cheap fuel stop because half his fuel stop was under Code 60. So rather than losing 3.5 minutes filling up the tanks, he effectively only lost about 2.
Well, another person who's gained, Nick, is an 88. They've had to do a lot of taping up at the front bodywork of the red GC Automobiles GC10. That is probably not going for refueling. Yes, it is. Of course, I shouldn't have said probably or not, because into refueling. But they gained a cheap pit stop, if you will, because it would have been a long delay for that bodywork repair.
I assume at this point they will lose the lead of the SP2 class. Martin Schorner in the Audi TTS should get past, but interestingly, if they have solved the problem, it did seem to be a mounting issue, and of course the body work itself is nothing structural on those GC cars. It's just a piece of draped over glass fibre or carbon fibre. So they managed to stop it from doing what it's doing, which is obviously rubbing on something relatively important, or at least concerning to the organisers. They can carry on going. It's not a problem that's going to continue itself. They can carry on going, and they've gained themselves again a cheap fuel stop, which the 86 car will not get.
I have news from the circuit. It was Jakob Christensen who had an incident. He has been off the circuit, has now rejoined. This was the second place car in A2. He was trying to chase down Jens Hansen in the Peugeot RCZ. That's the Norwich City car, or the John Deere car,
or my Lotus Scalextric car.
All right, yes, okay. And the green and yellow machine. And we wait to see how much time he has lost. He's been in the car for about an hour, 52 minutes actually now, as I look at the timing screen. That would have been easier to do that beforehand rather than just guess, wouldn't it?
Well, who's gaining time getting a fuel stop for cheap? Only 88 and 44. 44, the Zest race engineering car. Looked like Ashley Woodman wheel just pulled out of being refueled. 88 still there, and most of car number 50, the Renault Clio, has made it down there. The front end of that car, Nick, I can't remember if it was like that when you were still down here. Certainly has gone AWOL.
That was Patrick Wolf having that big accident just underneath us when he hit the
yes, that was
the
why I
tyres
came
very hard indeed.
When he tried to run me over, he was still pristine. Admittedly, in fairness, he tried to run his mechanic over and his team manager over first, so I was a third choice for the total carnage.
And a journalist, it would have said in the in the obituary.
Yes, a journalist was also killed. I can see
it's always bad when you're on a plane full of people who have achieved things in their life coming back from a motor race, and you've got Le Mans winners and people who have got Grand Prix victories behind them.
And our second place man has taken the opportunity to go in the pits as well. Is that Peter Cox getting in, Bruce?
Jaromir Jirish was driving the number 9, and in comes the Ferrari.
Sorry, just in the back of the garage, finding about number 39, hole in the radiator. Yes, the Ferrari is sitting there.
And I think it's Peter. I think Peter Cox has got in. They're unleashing Peter. They lost some of his time in the first two Co6 this morning. They actually lost some of his stint time, his advantage that he can build up with his speed over the two Czech drivers. But they've released him now, and from my understanding, he can probably go for about 2.5 hours. He's been out of the car for about that amount of time. Would you agree, John?
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely Cox. Just managed to squat down, look through the window. He's getting a bit delayed in the little dash down to the refueling. Of course, there's a 40 kph limit in the pits.
No, it's 20 kilometres in the
20 in the pits.
In the
40 in the pits, 20 in the refueling. It was Michael Goltz who got into the Lamborghini, by the way. Good spot by Nick. In comes Matthias Sentis from the lead of A5, which allows Vincent Rademacher in the other Peugeot. So 205 comes in, 208 goes to the lead of A5.
And we have the 5th place overall car, Gustav Endelhoff in car 3, also making a pit call now, and he'll get a cheaper, let's go to cheaper fuel stop as far as time is lost. And I can see the 88 beneath me, and that has really indulged in some major duct tape work. You're absolutely right there, Bruce. They obviously are having quite a big problem.
This is the GC Automotive, the car that was leading SP2. Martin Shaunier in the 86 Audi has gone through. Bruce?
Both Peugeots in the pits. 205 still in the garage. When it came in, it's had its orange lights on the side saying 9, then 9 saying 12th. That's where it's full to overall. And 208 is now up to 9th as we have the driver change, Vincent Rademacher hopping out. But they always come out with the fan. They're desperately worried about overheating. It clearly is the issue with number 205 and possibly for 208 as well.
How long have we been under code 60? About 10 minutes. How long has the 205 been in the garage?
Before that, but number 205 is now being wheeled out. They've obviously affected the repairs. There's nothing you can see, but the fact it was in there for around 10 minutes or so possibly tells the story, and it looks as though 208 is going to be put on the dollies and pushed back to imitate, unfortunately, what happened to its teammate. 208 going into the garage, 205 has come out and is now off for refueling.
As you're absolutely right, Bruce, they have been applying if you look at the way that engine is laid out, you look at the front of it, you'll see that the turbo sits up and front, so it's high up, right at the front of the car. So the main heat is that frontal area, because the turbo is the hottest part. That when they come in, they lift up the bonnet, they get like a leaf blower, and they cool down the turbo. And certainly on one of the cars, maybe both, all the stops they've been topping the oil up. So it does appear they've got some heat issues. But I thought this car would run VLN. You'd think they'd run long races. And this isn't. I know it's nice here, but it's not very hot, though, is it, John?
Well, it's not that hot, but I do wonder if that car, having been in for almost exactly the...
Well, they've now got a problem, John, because they can't get it to move on the dollies. It seems something had seized underneath. I think they just had the wheels all pointing slightly 90 degrees away from the direction they wanted to travel. But now 208 with the bonnet up is squeezed in between the toolboxes to get into the garage. And certainly a feature here, there is not a lot of space to do your work.
No, I don't think we can have very many more than the 52 cars that we started, if I'm honest.
No, it's interesting. You saw that the multicoloured BMW 120, which cracked its front suspension on the right-hand side, actually found it easier to do the work in the pit lane than in the box, because it was the side closest to the wall. I see that Peter Cox now has rejoined the circuit after his fuel stop. I'd be interested. I think there's Peugeot. It's possible. They're such a well-run team that this is planned maintenance. They've realised the problem, and they've said, right, we need to do the same remedial effect to both cars to get the temperature down, because they are cooking themselves and they're effectively burning extra oil. I think that they're still quite comfortably in the lead.
Well, yeah, but they've got the
A5.
The 34 car was the next one up in A5, and that will be the RTR Project BMW E46.
I think that they're going to be very close when they come out. If they get Vincent Rademacher out and also 208 out as quickly as they got the 205 out, they're all going to be very, very close together. The 90, the McGann Trophy car is back in the pits again. It's gone through, it's had its service, and I think it's now in the fueling area. And that is the car that's third in SP2 and looking to pick up on the Martin Schorner Audi and the Frank Leon Prevost GC Automotive car. We know the GC Automotive car has a problem, but it'll be interesting to see when we get up to full speed again whether the copious duct taping has solved it.
Well, that is the Audi TT going past us. I'm going to pop the door open for a moment just to hear what you could hear.
No, you definitely need to get the kit.
That body kit has to go on each car.
Definitely need the kit.
Right.
In fairness, it looks better from behind than in front, but it looks so good from behind, you've got to go for it.
Yes, I think it would work. I really do. Well, I'll be having a word with them.
That's fine.
Later on.
But and then calm as the first. You say it is interesting. I haven't been up it before during a code 60, and the clumping is remarkable, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just one person doing 57 kilometres an hour and everyone else coming?
Yes, or people coming out of the pit lane together.
Because was it 2 years ago in Dubai, we had one of the drivers massively complaining, saying he'd lost so much time because somebody's pit speed limit was 55 kilometres an hour, and he was just going backwards. And he overtook because he got frustrated, and I think he got the penalty for it.
Now, did he get the penalty? I'm not sure he did.
Or perhaps he took his way out of it. That could be the one, actually. Yeah.
29th at the moment is, I think, the best of the Porsches, the 17. We are sadly bereft of the hordes of Porsches and Ferraris that we normally see in
So we've got 52 cars with 2 Porsches, both club Porsches, and 1 Ferrari. So if the Porsches and Ferrari had, we had 193 cars.
Yep.
But actually, it's interesting. It is, considering how applicable the old Carrera Cup machines have been. And of course, there's a whole new generation that's sitting around in garages this year because, of course, they switched to the 991 this year, I think, in most of the regional series. I know they're expensive cars to buy, but you would think there's a lot of great cars there. A 997 Cup car or a 99.
I am seeing right now to Joe Bradley, who runs the GT Cup and has a 997 GT Cup car for Simon Blankney, which has just been converted to paddle shift. I am saying to him, this is where he should have been this weekend, running that car.
But you sent him to Le Mans, Jean.
I
think he's regretting that now from the emails and tweets I've had from him, if I'm honest.
Well, because he wants to be here. Much as Le Mans is fantastic, I'm sorry, but a race always wins over a test, in my opinion.
Okay, the Peugeot 208, number 208, has had a shorter time in the pit garage than its sister car, the number 205 did. Bonnet back down. Actually, you're right. I can't remember if it was you, John, or Nick. It was Nick saying how calm they are in that garage. It does seem to be preordained bringing the 2 cars in. Now talking 2, number 2 has made its refuelling stop and gone back out. So still fighting strong in that battle for the lead. Hofer Racing.
What did they actually do, Bruce? Was it a case of drilling some holes in the front of to get more air through the valance, or were they just literally doing manual cooling and an oil top up?
Correct, the latter. Just very, very organised, but I mean, they were, as soon as that bonnet could be popped, they were there cooling it down. Unfortunately, just a few garages up. The car that's probably had the most trouble of all is that
104.
No, the same garage, right team. It's there. It's the number 73, also entered by the Red Camel. It's the yellow and black Seat Super Cobra in the D1 class. That has got yet more front-end bodywork. They're trying to.
Is the 104 running at the moment?
Yes, it came out again. It did a pit stop.
That is brilliant.
Came out, had a problem, came back in again, and is still going. Now they're taking pretty much everything that's fibre, not metal off the front end of that Seat. I don't know if that's again. They're not going to stop, but there's a lot of.
The 2 cars with the longest pit stops at the moment, and there are several, is the 76 Nissan, 3 hours 44 minutes, closely followed by the Recce Racing diesel BMW, 3 hours 15, in 49th position, the 72 car.
That's not coming back.
Yes, we saw that disappearing. An hour and 20 for the Ulrich Becker 29 car. An hour and 16 for Jochen Krumbach in the 30 BMW.
Which will go no further because I've just walked past a garage with 2 parked BMWs with no work, 30 and 29. And in fact, keeping a number sequence going. Number 28 is on the pit apron. In front of me, that's the blue and emerald green version. Still going, but 29 to 38 parked up. 74, another BMW parked up, but they are working on the right rear corner of that.
Ricky Coomber's car, the 49, Torsten Kratz's SP3 102, been in for almost the same amount of time, an hour and 17 minutes, as has an hour and 10 minutes Peter Obel. There are a lot of cars in the top 30 that have been behind or in the garage for over an hour now. There's about a dozen of them, and it is beginning to take its toll.
Now, looking out onto the track as this Code 60 comes underway, I'm looking up, make sure I get this to the right position. I'm looking up.
Where are you looking at?
That bit over there.
Right, so that bit over there is that bit there.
So basically from Hans Ernst Bosch to Kumo Bosch, it actually is resembling a racing sim, because it looks like they've got the racing line printed on the track. But in fact, what it is, it's a load of concrete dust covering up the oil that someone dropped on the racing line through 5 corners. And they have got as far now as the inn of Shivak, sorry, and it looks like we don't have any. Sorry, Kumo Box, and it looks like we have no more oil by Ari Lyondike. So they obviously pulled off of that massive sand dune. So that is is that not the biggest gravel trap in the world at that top corner there, up by Shivak? Sorry, by Kumo Box. Sorry.
Probably, and it's banked as well. I think they should just run the circuit up there.
Yeah, just tarmac.
And then you could just keep it flat through there.
Tarmac. Basically, what you could then do, you're going to cut through across where we are now, which is near Huggenholzbach, and you can make an oval.
Yes, you could actually. Well, don't forget though that there's a couple of areas of this circuit. It used to go way off down towards the where are we? That's west, so that is the south. It used to go way off down to the south. See where that church spire is, that way, and over on that side, towards the east. That used to be exactly the same. It used to go off that way. This is a much, much shorter circuit than it used to be.
It's a great circuit.
Although longer than it was, obviously, when it just cut straight through that bit there.
I do think that we need to get around here on our bikes.
I've never seen motorcycling from Zandvoort.
It's a bit dangerous at this corner here. And don't forget, I think Nigel Farmer likened it to Macau. I know they run bikes at Macau, but they're never that fond of having absolutely solid things on the outside of the corner for bike racing.
Put an air fence there.
But the Dutch love their bike racing, so there must have been some in the past, but obviously not in recent memory.
And they don't tend to do a lot of track days here because of the noise restrictions. So, yeah, you may be right. It is coming on to 2:20 Central European time. Hello there. It's Nick Damon and John Hindhaugh in the booth, and Bruce Jones has taken a sachet down, a promenade down the pit lane.
I think he's strolled with purpose.
Do you think
I am strolling with purpose. I'm counting the number of cars parked in the garage. We've got the DC Motorsport. Oh, we've actually got a pit visitor rather than a pit parker. Lights flashing. It's the number 48 entry, I think, coming down. It's the John Deere Peugeot.
Oh, that's a car that's leading the class.
It's tyres and driver. I can see from my.
It's Jens Hansen at the wheel.
Perch.
Yeah, driver change going on. Wheels already being unbuckled, if you wish. All very cool, calm and collected, and in fact a car that is looking, a few flies have hit the front and a little bit of rubber dirt, but immaculate in all cases. So that's a rarity, because pretty much everything else has a tweak here, a twist there. Well, certainly the GC Automobile entries do. And unfortunately the Coroy's BMW is having a lot of work done on it. And the Rover is up. They had their problem with the power lead shearing, but clearly it's more than that, so that's at the back of the garage for DC Motorsport. This is down at the refueling end of the pit lane, pit exit, but it looks like a very standard driver change, wheel change, and now refueling for the pretty little Peugeot RCZ.
And I think we are beginning to get the repositioning into their safety packet places for the course vehicles. So hopefully they are coming off the track and we'll be close to going.
John, I've got a query for you. Maybe Nick can sort it. You were talking about the amount of time that people have been spending in the pits. You talked about the Ricky Coomber Honda.
Yep.
I can't find it. I wonder if it's been wheeled away and retired for good. It's not in a pit garage unless I've gone completely blind.
Right.
What number is it?
49.
49. I'll go out the back and have a look.
No, he's out there. He's running out.
He's not. Oh, he is. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay, I won't go out the back.
Yes, my apologies. I read that out as a stopped car. It's not a stopped car.
The leader has a warning, John.
I see that. I was just going to mention that. Christian Braque has a leader for warning for going too quickly, and you tend to get punitive penalties for driving too quickly.
My guess is car 37 is not going too quickly because he is leading the longest gaggle of cars in the history of gaggles of cars. All the other kind of clumpings are 2s, 3s and 4s. He's managed to get 1, 2, 3, 4,
you know
5,
what?
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 21 cars behind him.
I've just seen a car come into the pit lane and it's 40 clicks in the pit lane and he wasn't going any slower than the line. He's on the wrong button. If he's got a 60 button and a 40 button, he's on the 40. And that's the issue.
That's a great spot job, but that is it's amazing how that. Because watching all the other clumps, there were there's 3 cars there or 2 cars there. Actually, there's a second big clump now behind the. That's been held up by a course vehicle. That's why. And you almost see the GC Automotive car stretch out as it's now able to do 60 kilometres. Where it was following the course car, it was obviously down to whatever that does, 30 or 40. And this clump's now stretching out a bit.
Good to see the 28 BMW that lost the left rear wheel earlier on. The very pretty blue and green car. I mean. It looks, all right, if you take off the rear wing, that looks like a standard M3. It looks fabulous.
That is the car which I believe the first year we went to Dubai, changed class, went upper class and still won.
Yeah. Was it black then?
It had more green, less, no, the blue.
More blue, less green.
Yeah, but
that's right.
That's the car that, we always change, the whole kind of, they've changed the classes overnight because it was too quick. And then they went, oh yeah, we've changed class, and they still won.
Right, stand by for action. I'll lean up and just turn the wind off in the in the box as we're about to go back to green flag racing. The code 60 will be coming to an end in a moment, and Christian Bracker will have to pick his way through a decent amount of traffic. Actually, just see him there in a line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He has 9 cars ahead of him.
I kind of wonder how he got himself in trouble for going a bit too quickly. He's obviously been in a large trail of traffic for some time. So it must be a very light warning because he's, not been able to go more than the speed of the train.
Where's Peter Cox?
Some time.
I haven't seen him. Oh, there he is. There he is.
There were 2 cars behind the 44 he was, and that is the 44 he is behind.
And we're off again. The purple flags are taken away, and Peter Cox is waiting. He's waiting. He's not sure whether he can go, but he can go. Green flag is waving at the next of the marshal's post down towards Tarzan, and he's off, popped like a cork from a bottle down towards Tarzan, and begins his chase of Christian Bracker. They've been in the car 19 minutes for Christian Bracker and Peter Cox for 13 minutes, so they are back on a very much more similar fuel strategy. Now, can Peter Cox chase him down and get somewhere close to the lead? 419s and 420s on that last lap around, which, given this is a 4.3 kilometre circuit, 4.307.
Pretty much on the money.
Yes.
So basically now Peter has to make up about a lap and a half or a lap and a third. They have a full tank of fuel. They've got sunglasses. They're on the way to Detroit in the Blues Brothers mantra.
Hit it.
And it's looking. You would say that Peter's going to have the legs on Christian Brack, but he's going to need to have them on a reasonable number of seconds a lap. Otherwise, by the time the less quick drivers get in for the Czech Praha Racing Ferrari, you will get the fast drivers back in the Mercedes.
We've clicked over 205 laps, by the way. I missed the 200 lap mark, my apologies. But it's lap 205 completed for Christian Bracker at the head of the field. Now, where are the battles? We've been watching this SP2 battle between the 86 Audi and the 88 GC Automotive. It's gone out to 26 seconds. And the other battle that we were watching is the A3T battle. Now, they're together on the circuit, but with a couple of laps between them. But Guy Spessem in the A3T second place car, the 41 car, seems to have a little bit quicker pace than the car he's chasing down, the Moni Krant leader, which is the 42. And those are the two Seat Leon Super Cobras, he said,
well done,
relatively confidently. And Renny Hagedorn and Peter Obel are now battling ahead of Jakob Christensen after Jakob had a bit of an issue. But they're all on the same lap. Lap 182 completed and separated by not a lot around the circuit. And in fact, Jakob Christensen was only 0.2 of a second across the line behind Peter Obel. Remember, Jakob had a little bit of an off, dropped the 106 Clio. 48 is the Peugeot in the green and white, green and yellow colours. Peter Obel is the A2, is the... which one is Peter Obel driving? The 53 is the Sally Racing, of course. Yes, we were just talking about that before. That's another Clio. So it's Peugeot, Clio and Clio in that A2 battle. And as I say, they are... Jakob Christensen is right on the tailpipe of Peter Obel. Rennie's just gone through. So let's see how far those two are battling behind. Here they are, across the line together and down the inside. Christensen goes for second place on the orange rear end of the Clio ahead of him. Looks like a Clio Cup race. They've got the GC Automotive 88 car right in behind them, and it looks like Christensen on the inside of Tarzan will get the power down early in that little front wheel drive car. He does. 200 horsepower or thereabouts to play with, but just about squeezes through, and here comes the BMW shaped GC Automotive car to follow him through, and that is a new second place car in A2, and that's Jakob Christensen in the 106. The black car goes through, displacing the blue and orange Rini Hagedorn in the number 48. So Peter Obel, excuse me, in the 53. Hagedorn is out ahead of them in the Peugeot. Now, how far are they away? Answer: 38 seconds between the Peugeot that is leading that class and a charging Jakob Christensen. And that's all, by the way, Scandinavian teams. I think they might all be Danish teams, actually, in A2.
The A2, the most populous class with 10 entrants. So there's a 10 positions there up for battle. One of the classes I've just been looking at whilst you were commenting on that, John, is that the D1 class, that looked so good last night, has kind of imploded. And we got three of them, the diesel cars, which were revelling in their long runs and everything else. Three or four of them are now retired, effectively. The leading car is 3 and a bit laps ahead of the second car.
Yes, but interestingly, on a different fuel strategy. Because if you notice,
half an hour, that's half an hour under code 60 as well. So that's not a fuel, is it?
No, that's true. But what happens is every time Weber Herla pits the 75, Daniel Schilliger or Andreas Klump, who shares with him in the Golf, goes back ahead of them. And he's just come out of the pits. Daniel Schilliger's just come out of the pits. So they've had a free stop there.
That Golf is one of the most remarkably standard cars here.
Yeah.
I actually looked at it and I went, why has someone parked a road car in here?
Yes.
Because it has the full grille, plastic grille and front end of the road machine. It hasn't got a specialised, semi-racing one or lightweight. It's just we've got one off the local VAG dealer, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they did open the bonnet for a few minutes on the pit stop. Didn't do much. A bit like when you or I would open a bonnet. Not much happens.
We were talking a few moments ago about Code 60 and drivers who got irate about being held up.
Yep.
It was Fabien Giroir, if you remember, and that I say thank you very much indeed to Dan Hounsell, and he said, I'm sure it was Fabien Giroir, who's just withdrawn from the Le Mans test day.
Has he?
Yeah.
There's a car gone as well, just him. Because he was with Millennium, wasn't he?
Yes.
Oh, it's not moving. Poor old Graham. The amount of rewrites having to do on his entry form is ridiculous.
Corey Marvin asking, do the A6 cars run as fast as they want? Do they have to run a bogey time? Nope, fastest they want here.
There is a reference time for...
There is.
A5, is it?
Yes.
Which is about 150 something.
Yeah.
But the rest, because there are no all professional teams, there's not this split between professional and amateur that we have in Dubai, where you can choose as a professional team, you can choose to go as fast as you like. As an amateur team, you get a reference time, but you're allowed more fuel, less weight, and more advantageous ride height. So it's the only strange decision last year was when they decided to put the Dragon Motorsport cars into amateur, really, because they had the pace, I thought, to actually take it to the leaders.
Hello to Cam Walsh, 8:30 a.m. on the east coast of the US. He says, I'm glad to hear some motor racing. What happened yesterday? Well, we had 3 hours of this 12 hours of the Hankook Zandvoort event, and frankly, it was pretty much, for the most part, dominated by Hofer Racing. They locked out the front row, and for the first couple hours at least, they drove around pretty much in team order, blowing the wheels off everything else that was out there. And then the number 1 car hit issues.
It was a fabulous 3-hour prologue to the event.
Yeah.
Because now this race has run today, I'm being much more appreciative of the 3 hours we had yesterday.
Yeah.
Because it put all our mindsets got tuned into the particular variants of how this track works, how the time in the pit stops works, how the fuel concept works, and we saw a number of cars. And then we went, right, you've all run around. The reward for your 3 hours is your laps. We're not going to worry about the seconds, and we're going to reset and start again. And we saw a great deal of action yesterday. We saw some key events, we thought, including the number 9 car that's currently second, having a minor accident, losing 3 laps, which it then got back.
Thanks to Peter Cox.
The number 1 car that was doing so well, also having problems. And we
lost 14 laps yesterday, the number 1 car, which was, as I say, just driving. It was like formation driving, if I'm honest, for the Hofer team yesterday, Cam. And then they decided to work on the car overnight when everyone else was in Parc Fermé. It was a tactical decision, but it gave them another 10-lap penalty, from which really they are not expected to recover. I say that the car has come up from 44th, where it was this morning, to 25th position. Maxi Burke at the wheel at the moment, but crucially is still 8th in A6, which is where he was when he started this morning. But he's just turned a 1:41.4, which is that car's fastest lap of the race. The other big things that happened were that we lost at the end of that session yesterday the 57 Synchro Motorsport Honda, which Martin Byford had driven to the lead in class, which was Class A2. They pitted seconds, 24 or 26 seconds before the fuel window closed at the end of the 3 hours last night. But unfortunately, Stephen Ritchie took the car back out and bounced it off the barriers straight away, and that cost them all of the advantage they may have hoped to gain with having a full tank this morning. The other big loser last night was the Nissan number 76, who had a drive shaft problem again. They had to have work overnight and lost them more time. This morning...
No, there was one loser last night as well. Through confusion, the car that had led for quite a lot, the 10 Liepert Lamborghini,
yes,
made 2 kind of erroneous pit stops at the end in confusion about what they would do. Ended up losing 2 laps on the road and then losing 2 more laps as penalties. They ended up, I think, 5 or 6 laps behind when they started today.
But the big winners were those of us who got to go and have a very big steak and some wine and a good night's sleep.
Cheesecake.
Yeah,
just thought I'd better pop that in.
Yes, very true.
Just had a pit stop for number 3, by the way. It wasn't a standard one, no driver change as far as I could notice from the wrong end of the pit lane. But they did the old plug in the laptop routine, so several minutes lost, but they're not at the very sharp end of A6. Are they 6th place, I think? Something like that, number 3. It's the second of the car collection motorsport entries. And
the last of the A6 cars at the head of the field, the GT3 cars. Yeah, absolutely right, Bruce. Thank you. And they are 9 laps off the lead. That Lambo, by the way, is now 8 laps off the lead, but in the hands of Michael Goltz, and trying to make up a bit of time. In the meantime, that battle in A2 was 38 seconds, remember, now 29. Jakob Christensen hunting down René Hagedorn in the Peugeot at a rate of knots, even when René has a good lap. And a good lap was had by René last time around, and that being 2 minutes 1.332. Wouldn't you know it, but Jakob just stuck in a 2 minutes 9.969 rather, just to prove that he has got the pace in that car. And as I say, Jakob is last in that car. Jakob did... Oops, telephone's just throwing itself. Yeah. It's the Lemming version of the VoIP system. The
battle for the lead, we are seeing consistently Peter Cox taking time out of Christian Brack, averaging about 4 seconds, sometimes 2, sometimes as much as 6, ebbing and flowing with traffic, which means he's going to need something in the region. We say an average of like 3 seconds, therefore he needs something in the region of about 28 laps or 29 laps to make up the lap he's behind, all fair weather.
Let's have a check on the number 41 Seat. This is the NKPP racing car that sits in second place in its category. Guy Spessem is driving the Seat number 41 in 19th position overall. He's trying to chase down the similar car of Moni Krant, but there is some bodywork damage on that that's been noticed by the race control. So keep an eye open for 41 as it goes by, Nick.
And they are reasonably liberal because you're allowed to run without a front end like the number 50 is at the moment, the Clio, or with your entire rear end cock swift by 6 inches as the 89 GC car was. So this must be. Oh yeah, here he is. He's got bits. That's a 44 car. No, the 44 car's got bits falling off. That's a Seat with a bit falling off on the. When he comes round again, you'll see on the left-hand side, he's got a bit coming off. That's not him, obviously. So it's a 41 we're looking for, is it? Which has got the issue.
Yes.
Again, my feeling about some of these short sprint cars is they don't seem to handle the massive vibrations you get over a 12-hour race, and they do get little bits of bodywork falling off them without any impact being involved, especially in the strakes behind the front wheels. They all kind of break, and they can't take this constant pounding because obviously they're running more in half a race than they were running the season normally.
So Christian Bracker with a lap and a bit lead on Peter Cox, 1:44.3 for Bracker. Peter Cox, 1:42.2. And they've both been in the cars, well, about half an hour. Peter Cox, 26 minutes, 32 minutes for Christian. Diederik Sithoff is in third place for the number 5 Corvette. He is a couple of laps further back, actually just over 1 lap further back. And then Roland Eggerman is down on 206 laps, whilst the leaders are on 2:12 and 2:11 at the head of the field. I'm just trying to keep an eye on some of these battles.
Still waiting to see 41. I mean.
Well, Guy Spessum, he should be coming round in a moment now. Who's having an issue? The 21 SP3 car dropping down at the moment, and that is the PG Motorsports Porsche 996 GT Cup car. Is that the grey one, the 21 car?
Yes, it is. Yeah, because the 17 is the green one.
Yeah. That's just dropped down to 17th position, but it is still top Porsche. Where's the 17 gone then? That's dropped well out of the top 20. Yeah, Jean-Michel Jérôme has dropped down to 29th position and 7th in the SP2 class for the 17 Porsche.
There he goes now under the start-finish.
That looks remarkably straight and clean. You can see now, Nick, if you look around the circuit, particularly on the straight here, look at the undulations in the braking area for Tarzan behind us. Just before the marshal's post, you see the darker, the darker stripes on the tarmac, and there's a couple of nasty bumps there in the braking areas for some of the heavier cars that you really notice. There goes.
I think they're shaking the bodywork off some of these machines.
Yeah, you can really see it on the lighter cars. Here's the little Lotus bouncing over them at the moment, as there is the Peugeot going down into Tarzan that leads its class. That's the green and yellow car, and has the GC Automotive white version of their GC10, the V8 engine silhouette. I'm just having a quick look then at that Peugeot as it goes through, about to be passed by the 308 GTI into Hugenholzbocht, and now heading up the hill. That RCZ is a very, very pretty car. A couple of races ago at the Mount Panorama,
they had a few of them, didn't they?
Peugeot debuted the car in Australia by racing it. There's the 41 car. It's right rear bodywork behind the right rear wheel of that Seat number 41. Big lob up as he goes into Tarzan. He was a little bit optimistic trying to go past one of the Clio Cup cars.
That wasn't bodywork. That was just late braking. And so he's got the rear valance is. He's been
dinged, hasn't he?
Well, yes, you might think so.
No, he has been dinged.
I don't know. I think if you look at it, it's actually just come away from its mountings, and the particular shape it is, it then looks flattened out. But it's these. Certainly the Seat Super Cuppers, a little bit the Renault Clios, certainly the GC Automotive cars are having kind of bodywork mounting issues and failures, which again can get sorted out by the right amount of duct tape. I think because the cars those part of the cars the fasteners aren't used to the vibrations they're getting for the period of time they're getting here. As you say, it's a bumpy circuit, it's a fast circuit, and it's also a long distance race.
Jan Joris Verheul back at the wheel of the number 90. That car lost some time earlier on. We're talking to him in the pit lane, but still third in SP2. SP2 first, second and third, albeit separated by laps, are 7th, 8th and 9th on the timing screen at the moment. The A5 leader is still the Peugeot 208 of Gonzalo Monte de Andreas in 10th position. And its team car is in second still. Yes, it is the 205, Guillaume Roman, with Thomas Kolek in third, but another lap further back in the A5 third position car is the 34.
So the one thing we do know is Vincent Rademacher is winning that class, and he's in second
in the
as
RTR
well.
project.
And he's in second as well.
Yes, yes.
In A5.
He hasn't done that much driving. His teammates.
He did a lot yesterday.
Yes, he did yesterday. Didn't he drive both cars yesterday?
He was in. He started. He ran a huge stint in one car, and then
then
started the other car today.
Yeah. Okay. But his teammates have done their
work. I don't think he's been in since, which means would be strange unless he's going to do it. No, because he can't. You think he would? Is he not in now?
No, he just got out.
So, right.
He just got out of the 208 car.
Right, so he'll have to have an hour and a half on and then get in the 205. There's the leader underneath us now. Looking magnificent, actually, that car. It hasn't dirtied at all.
It looks like a Carrera or a Fly slot car. I mean, you look at it and you think, oh, that's a special edition that they've put out for the 30th anniversary of Martini or whatever.
I'm sure they will.
I mean, it just looks the absolute dogs. It really does.
And that green 17 Porsche is calling into the pits. One of just two we have.
Christian Bracker then in the leading 33, doing a pretty decent job, but he's in the 51s and 50s, whereas Peter Cox is in the 45s and 46s.
I've watched every lap. He's been slower every lap, and it's been between 3 and 6 seconds, depending on how they've dealt with the individual amount of traffic they've met. I think, actually, in fairness to Christian, when he started the restart, Peter had to overtake one slightly recalcitrant Seat.
Yes.
And he had a train of cars about a mile long. But
it was the 44 Zest Racing, Zest Motorsport car.
The GC Automotive car of the 88, which I think is still running second in SP2, actually looks fine now. They have found the correct balance of tape and tyres.
Well, and interestingly, Martin Chaunier and Frank Leone Provost are lapping within half a second of each other. 53.2 for the Audi, 53.9 for the GC Automotive V10. Interesting that those two cars are in the same category. Oh, and there is the Audi having to go right across the right-hand side circuit line, going across the start-finish line as the leader threaded the needle between two Audis, one of them the TTRS, the other the 104 Audi R8, the self-build R8, and there was a third car in there as well, and I think that was the class-leading D1 Golf, no, the second place Golf now, of course, the 71 car with the Swiss flag on the top with the blackened rear end.
Just basically come from the showroom to the track.
It does look a bit like that, doesn't it? Really. The three BMW are back out again.
The fact that the 39 cars had a lot of problems.
Yeah.
That was smoking like, you know, a Docker from the 1940s, and now it's absolutely fine. What have they done? How can you can't mend an engine? Surely you can't mend that. It's like a drop valve or something. There you go.
They had all night.
No, it was smoking about an hour ago.
All right. Well, it's gone through its oil. It's about to stop.
It's now working on its rings.
Yep, absolutely.
Now, in that battle in SP2, Jan-Joris Verhoeven in the Frank Lothar Prevost in the 88 car needs to try and find a lap and 25 seconds, but he does have a 35-minute advantage as far as stints go.
Correct. Martin Chaunier is an hour and 11 in, 36 minutes in for Frank Leone Provost in that battle for SP2.
Question for you, John.
Yes, fire away.
When do they start back timing?
As soon as they can.
So,
but you've got the issue of how much fuel you can put in and how big your tank is.
And you've got the issue of the Code 60s, which throw the whole spanner in. But you would think at this point, if they assume they can get 4 hours of running, you're 2.5 stops, aren't you?
Honestly, if you're in with a chance now, I think every Code 60 you top off the car. And you keep the car as full as possible so that at the end you can go the full tank. Because if you can only put 70 or 80, or some of the cars can only put 80 or 100 litres in a 120 tank. So you want to keep that 10 litres spare for the end so you don't have to stop again.
Yellow flags going around the corner now. I think someone stopped on the rise towards Hunzo.
No,
I can see the car, but I can't see what it is.
See the top of the car, the driver's out. I can see a helmet running from right to left. There's marshals
car
there.
Number 90.
Is it? Oh no!
It's car 90, is it?
Yeah, I've just seen it on the screen.
It's Jan Joris Verhoel, third place in SP2 then.
And catching the others he had been.
He was flying. Now there's double waved yellows. I think there's more than one car involved
Code
there,
60.
Bruce.
Code 60.
Code 60 has come out unsurprisingly. I think there's been a coming together there, if I'm honest. And we were just saying earlier on, weren't we, about how good everybody had been. Let's see if we can find a circuit camera. We've sort of not been using them.
Just while you're thinking, John, we were waiting for a pit stop for number 7. That was going to be coming in.
Oh, yes.
De Lorenzi ready to take
car
over.
in the middle of the road and facing the wrong direction. It's a GC Automotive car, I think.
That's the 90, I think.
No,
you can see it on the windscreen. It's not 90.
There's the 90, the red car. There's 3 cars involved.
I think the car in the middle of the track is the 90. It looks like the back of the back of a McGann Trophy car.
Oh yes, sorry, that's a McGann Trophy.
The GC Automotive car is there, the red car.
That's the 88, I think.
And then there's another white car ahead of it.
106 just been towed into the pit lane. The little K-Riser Red Clio. So it's all at the moment.
Let me see if I can see a better picture and try and pick them out for you. Because we have got... definitely the 90 is in the middle of the track because we've got an onboard camera with that. And
has a distinctive rear end. I quite
well spotted, mate. Well spotted. So it's the 90. I think it's either the 88 or the 80 BMW.
It's the 88 GC Automotive car. It's the red one. Yeah. Or it's the Ferrari. No, it's not the 88. So, now, it was a red car, coupe. It's not the number 9 Ferrari, is it?
Do you think that was
how many
coupe?
red cars have we got? We got the Ferrari, we got the 88, we had the 30.
Just
that's
seen the 88. That's gone. The 88 is just going in front of me. As is the 51.
The 80. Isn't there a red BMW? Well, no, there's a 30 car. That's gone, hasn't it?
Where's the
51?
9?
It's 90 and 95. 90, 95. Definitely.
So who's 95?
95 is the Mission Possible BMW.
No, that's the white car. So who's the red car?
We still got...
There's the Ferrari. That's fine. The Ferrari's still running.
And you sure it's not the 88, Nick?
No, because the 88 is running as well.
Okay. Sure it's not 51, which is a
Saw
red
51.
Here we go. Oh, and we've got a Porsche. Oh, no, that's
Meanwhile, what I can tell you is 52 is in the pits, having a pit stop, and Rolf Weissenfeld's taking that over. That's the multicoloured one with the sort of jungle scene on the side.
I'm assuming it's a red car, unless it was a rescue vehicle.
It might be.
Yes, because we've run out of red cars.
The Mission
otherwise.
Possible BMW is moving, but not very happily.
Is that a rescue vehicle?
Is that? I think it might be.
Okay, I'll tell you who's in the pits. The 82 BMW, the MDM Motorsport that went really well early on. It's had a rotten day. That looks ready to rejoin. The Lotus Evora 102. Number 5 V8 Racing Corvette is in the pits, and one of the Mark cars is coming in. Number 92. That's the one that's running furthest back of the Mark cars, and at the same time getting away the Lotus, and just pulling past it is the Chevrolet number 5. That's the only one at the sharp end.
93 and 91 are together on the timing screen, by the way. There are 4th and 5th in SP2.
The Corvette has done what you said, John, and it's come in, tyres, top up,
and gone. That's exactly the right thing to do.
And here comes the number 10 Lamborghini doing the same thing. Whether they take tyres, I don't know. At this point, they will be queuing because I've seen 4 cars go to the petrol station. So, interesting to see if the Leipert Lamborghini, as it goes past Trundles down, it is stopping. Is it doing anything? What's going on with the Leipert, Bruce?
Well, he's just pulled to a halt. They didn't even look really particularly ready. They're looking under the engine cover at the back with the little torch.
Oh dear.
Having a wee see, going past the gravel that's been picked out of other cars and the cement dust, but otherwise just 3 mechanics looking at the car, jumping back. I think he's on his way again.
We've lost.
Just firing up quite a lot of heat damage, scuff damage on the flank of number 10.
Well,
you were talking of 41 earlier. That's in the pits. As I turn around.
He has no rear bumper. When did that fall off?
Which was the one that was running around last night with no rear end on it? I think it was 41, wasn't it?
It was 41. 41 was one that got the warning, wasn't it? And its response is to rip the bumper off, John.
Yes.
So they've taken the rear bumper right off. The rear valance has gone completely. And given the fact they're letting the 50 run without its front bumper, I'm sure that'll be fine. So that's their response to the call from the stewards to watch out. They've pulled it all off.
And your clean front end, dirty back end VW Golf is in, number 71. Just
does that car
second in class?
That car does look like it's come straight from a showroom. It doesn't look even slightly racy-fied. Well, that's a word, obviously. So code 60 being observed very rigorously by the number 1 Mercedes-Benz.
Maxi Buch on the screen driving that one.
This is the point where I am finding it hard to know where to look, John, because there's so many things I want to try and check and see the same car. Then I'll find one car and miss the ones I want. The 88 is going really.
To my world.
Why is the 88 going so slowly?
Which one?
The 88 is on the. He's not doing 60 kilometres an hour. He slowed right down then. That's really weird.
Right. So
number 5 rejoined.
2 cars
full
for
tank of
sure
fuel.
involved in that, and I think possibly 3.
So we don't know that red car was a course car or not, do we?
I think I have not seen a red course car.
Hold on, here's an idea. Look at people who haven't done the times you'd expect. So the 90 with the 147 for its last
Well, that's
lap.
where we know that's involved. That's the SP2 contender.
Who else has looked reasonably okay?
95 was another one that we thought was involved.
Yep, Mark 210, that's right. So has anyone else on a particularly fast lap?
Just while you're doing them out, go on, Nick.
Sorry, the answer to that, it doesn't appear that anyone else.
So maybe just those 2 then. Bruce?
Just to say that, John, you've talked a fair bit about Jakob Christensen's car. That is now pushed back into the garage.
Oh no!
It was brought in it was towed in, and they do not know yet what the problem is. And in fact, there's that. You know that you want to identify a problem so you can sort it, but at the moment the bonnet's up and about 6 heads under it. For Team 106, the Team K Riser Renault Clio. So it'd been going so well, and now sadly not so good.
This happens when this car leads and this car takes over, then the photos change with all the information.
That car had just got into 2nd place, Bruce, in A2 with Jakob at the wheel, and then it's down to 4th already. Peter Cox in the pit lane.
Peter Cox
just for fuel.
Into refueling, just all toes off.
Right, excellent.
So he's done what he said. So why is Christian Brack needs to come in, at least for fuel, if not to change drivers? He's got a. Oh, he is in. He's listened to me. He's coming as well. So Christian Brack has come in too.
He'll have been waiting for the pumps.
Of course, one of the red cars was 44, wasn't it? We forgot about that.
He's carried on going right now.
He's just come past you, I think, Bruce.
Yeah, he's stopped right next to me. Very crinkle cut down the right-hand flank of the car, but other than that, look all right. And I don't know if there aren't many mechanics, but only 2 people are paying attention to it. And the back left-hand corner are also held together by tape. And the front left-hand bodywork is being reaffixed, so it's been rattling and
I don't want to carry on with my statement here, but I don't think those cars like the combination of bumps and duration here. And what they need to do is just mechanically, it's no problem. We need to work out all their bodywork fixings.
Well, the bodywork, let's say the gaps aren't uniform as we look around, but there are gaps.
The thing is with those cars, like any touring car, and let's be honest, that's a touring car.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't see that detrimentally at all.
No.
But a touring car, if you get a bit of bodywork bumped and barged, which is the very essence of touring car racing, rubbing is racing, then you want the bodywork to fall off and not drag around and get you pulled into the pits.
Good point.
And also, if you lose a bit of weight, well,
hey-ho.
On the way. So it's interesting, isn't it, about that? We talked about the car's been involved in the accident, the McGann.
The interesting thing is, we've not seen that same issue so much in Dubai, which is a very modern, very smooth circuit.
That's true.
Okay, here's one for you. Peter Cox has just rejoined from the refueling bay, but number 33, the race-leading Mercedes, is still being refueled. It's still under code 60, but I don't know how much longer it will be until the track's cleared up. They want to get number 33 back going at full speed before the green flags are flown.
Well, they'll take all the fuel they can take at this point, because I would suggest there's enough being used from the tank that they'll be able to top that back up to full.
He's just fired up, so whoever's in 33, we know it's not Renger van der Zande.
It's Brakke.
Of course it's Christian Brakke.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation, though. It does mean now that both the Ferrari and the 33 Mercedes should have a full tank.
The 90 car, by the way, is on the back of the flatbed, and Bruce is going to have quite a bit of description when it comes back.
There's been a net gain for the 33 car, because he's now still, I believe, a lap ahead.
Oh yes, he was a lap ahead before.
But he's now a lap, he needs 2 laps ahead, because as he now about to go into Hugenhosbolt, Schlievac, which is only 1 straightaway, has not been reached yet by the Ferrari.
Well, that's because he took less fuel.
Probably because
because he'd been out less.
But he's made up a large amount of space in this because he was not 2 laps behind. He was losing many seconds a lap, and now suddenly he's finding himself. He's gained himself, I reckon, half a lap through this procedure.
Okay.
Peugeot number 208, 9th overall, has just driven through the pits and out the far end.
Leader.
Did it probably picked up a stop and go?
It must have done. Didn't stop at its garage. Didn't even have a look. Thought of going into refueling.
The 88 car's in. I can see that the 88 car, the GC Automotive car down there.
88 has just pulled in. The 49 Ricky Coomber car, the Honda Civic, is up on jacks in front of me, and we have a Seat coming in, trying to pick it out as the little blue and orange Renault Clio pulls down. Looks so he's going to refueling. It's the 42. Of course, 42 was the Seat that lost its rear bodywork last night. 41 has lost it today, and 53 is the little blue and orange Renault Clio going for refueling.
Just had this tweet, thank you to the responsible adult for forwarding this on to me, from Renger van der Zande. Got into the lead, he said, had a good stint, halfway topped up the fuel, and so by the end was driving drift style on old tyres. So
that sounds rather exciting.
And that is why Christian Bracker, of course, didn't need as much fuel, because Van der Zande had topped up halfway through his stint.
Our erstwhile circuit commentators told me that they've had to pull back. They're putting back the guardrail with the cranes. Obviously, that was Mission Motorsport in the kerfuffle with the 90 car. I mean, not sure who else was involved or not, but take those two cars, the 1995 machine were involved. There was a big whack for one of them. 90 is going to recover to the pit lane. Does that mean that 95 is not? Is the question.
Well, the 95 car has crossed. Have they crossed the finishing line again? I thought I saw the Mission Possible.
They have pits. They have.
Oh, right, they're back in the pits. Yeah, so
they've managed to get back
just 5 minutes ago.
Do you know what sort of condition that car's in, Bruce? The 95. I know. I can see now. It's a bit of a walk up, but just see how badly damaged it is, or whether it was the car that sort of tipped the 90 into a spin, and that was what clumped the barriers really hard.
Okay, I'll let you know.
But
we're being asked, by the way, or indeed all of the pit lane has been asked if we'd like some bitterballen. We had bitterballen the other night. We like them a lot. 24 hours.
Absolutely, bitterballen for everybody. It's just not quite so hot as the first one had on Thursday. That was a little bit burny.
There will be bitterballen in the pits in a moment, according to the organisers. So yeah, it's a Dutch delicacy. For those that don't know. Look it up on a well-known search site who now has to give you your privacy back.
Yeah, a bitterball, and it's not a footballer who's been dropped.
Yeah, correct.
Oh, it is.
So I'm pretty certain now that red car is, or was, a course vehicle. Not that we've seen it any other time this weekend, rather annoyingly.
It's just designed to confuse.
It's been parked over there where we can't see it all this time. The flatbed is reversed all the way down to put the barrier. You can see the kink in the barriers halfway down there. It's there's been quite a shunt for that McGann Trophy car.
So when this McGann
and the remains of it are being brought back.
Well, it should be quite strong in the space frame, but I assume that everything else would have been deranged, and my guess is the poor thing is not going to get going again in the next 4 hours. As the Audi has made a pit stop. The TT.
That's the leader.
So he has made a good call there under code 60, because he will now get a full slurp of fuel, make up and then go ahead on the stagger of fuel pit stops by the same 35 minutes.
No, because Lionel Amrouche did the same thing. Yeah. He's already done it. They're covering off the car in second place.
So, but it's more advantage for the Audi, because Amrouche obviously had only run about 35 minutes, whereas the Audi ran an hour, but actually more than that, an hour and 10 before the code 60, about an hour and a half in total. And he now has given himself a full tank, so they will know you're running, and it'll be the 88 car, the GC car will still have that lap to make up. Quite simply, you only need a very, very, very small, simple error to lose a lap in this short circuit, so it's only 1 minute and 50. At the top, it's Bracker from Peter Cox, 33 from 9, Mercedes from Ferrari. The 5 of Alex Van Hoff, which is, of course, is the Corvette, is in third, and they are, so it's 220 laps, 219 laps, 217 laps, so the Corvette is 2 laps back. Then it's the number 2, the car which for a long time was looking like the obvious winner, the Roland Eggemann Mercedes SLS of Hoffa Racing, And in 5th place, it's Michael Goltz with the Lamborghini Lightner.
So it is 3 o'clock, and once again, as we come to the end of another hour's worth of racing with 4 hours to go, we're under a code 60. This, I think, our 6th part of the race that has been neutralised for code 60. We had 4 up until this morning, partway through this morning for an hour and a quarter. We've added about another 40 minutes or so onto that, so we're getting on towards 2 hours of this race of code 60. And we'll be back with the final 4 hours of the Zandvoort Hankook 12 hours in just a few moments here on RadioLeMans.com. Well, still doing work on the barriers here. You can still see a circuit vehicle over at that part of the circuit, Nick, and this is not the work of a moment, quite clearly. Now here comes the remains, and I mean that, of the Megane Trophy car. Well, it looks okay on the top of it. Do you know what? Actually, that's not in as bad a condition as I thought. Bruce Jones is down in the pit lane. It's the front right that's taken all the damage, and the right-hand side, but it's not as bad as I thought, Bruce.
Well, it's just coming past me. I'll take a look at it as it's pulled off. Oh, gosh, you're right. That has been peeled back. And just while I'm catching up, you wanted news of the Mission Possible 95 BMW. It got a hit from behind. They're just checking the tracking at the moment. The Dutch driver, Mike Smith, is taking over. Mark Dilger feeling a little disappointed with all of that because they were just sort of making steady progress, doing what they had to do. But yes, it's a bit like someone's put a can opener into the front of the number 90 Renault Megane Trophy, and pivoted the light through 90 degrees, looking down, bodywork damage to the front. Oh, it's the left rear as well as, sorry, the right rear has been slightly reshaped, I think we could say.
So what's happened is that they've come together, it's spun and hit the barriers because the side is the wrong side to dent the barrier.
Correct.
So it's turned round and slammed into the barrier.
Yeah. On the back to green.
And the right, as it goes green, the right rear corner, of course, the bodywork there too has been peeled back. So there's a lot of sections that have to come off that car. But as you reported earlier, Nick, they come off very quickly and hopefully can go back on very quickly as well.
So we're back to green flag racing, as you can probably hear by the increase in engine noise from here at Zandvoort. RadioLeMans.com with Bruce Jones in the pits, Nick Damon and John Hindhaugh in the skybox, I suppose you might call it, as we look down on the circuit. The leader, Christian Braque, is in among the midfield runners and has to pick his way through Renault Clios, and there's a Seat Supercup, the Zest Motorsport car, the red 44 was right in front of him as he came out of Hugenholtzbach there, and he's still in front of him now as he heads over the top of the rise and on towards, now diving down right-handed towards Mastersbrocht, turn 9 and 10, and then we just lose them for a moment, then we'll see them as they come out of turn 9 and 10, head towards Hans Ernst Box, the big braking area. Peter Cox in the Ferrari is there already and trying to get the lap back on the leader. So the Ferrari heads towards the final 2 corners and is in between the final 2 corners at the moment, and the leader is coming down to the chicane now. So that's interesting. Peter Cox then will come round now and go back onto the lead lap at a distance of 1 minute and 31 seconds. So he's just short of a lap behind the leader. Christian Braque will come through in a second.
Gained then?
Yes, he did.
Right, so he actually managed to unlap himself during that process. It wasn't the case where Christian got closer. He actually had managed to unlap himself. That's a massive, massive improvement.
Yeah, he's got one of the 2 laps back.
Has he?
In fact, no, he's got both of the laps back. He's got both of the laps back, and they're both on the same stint length.
No.
Because they've short-stinted Braque to refill the car.
But he's showing 221 laps, and
yes, and Cox will go through, and it'll be less than 1 minute 31 seconds when he goes through. They'll both be on the same lap.
Okay. I've not done a lot of studying this time, so I shall let you have the
222 laps completed by the leader, 221 by Peter Cox. but he's ahead of the leader on the track. So he's not yet a lap back. Alex van der Hoff is still behind the wheel of the Corvette in third place. He's completed 219 laps, so he is genuinely 3 laps behind the leader because they've both gone across the line. Kenneth Heyer is on his outlap in the Mercedes-Benz number 2. He's completed 215 laps. Michael Goltz has completed 214 laps. He's just crossed the line. And he is in 5th position in the Lamborghini. And Dr. Johannes Kirchhoff is in 6th position on 214 laps when he comes through. Now that's interesting. How far is Kirchhoff behind Goltz? Because he's yet to come through. There's Cox going through. Oh, a mere 9 seconds taken off the leader last time around. So it's down from 131 to 122. The gap at the head of the field, and it's lit off again with both drivers having been out there for around about 12 minutes. And Goltz is only 21 seconds, 58 seconds ahead of Kirchhoff at the moment. That's the battle for 5th and 6th. So, Christian Bracker then, let's pick up the martini coloured Mercedes-Benz 33 car.
It goes underneath us down to
Hugenholtz now.
About to overtake the fan favourite 104 Audi R8 that is back running again, about 700 problems.
I think Tim's trying to talk to us from London, but unfortunately I can't hear him. Thank you. Couldn't hear him in the background there for all the noise, excuse us.
We are back and running.
It's clumps of cars that does that, you see. You get the more constant noise because they're all around us. So
over 8 hours in.
Yes.
And we still have how many cars are actively running? I'd say we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars, 6 cars out, definitely.
Yeah.
And there's a few cars in the pits, but I'd say we've still got between 45 and 46 cars running after 2/3 distance.
Well, the busiest work is obviously on the number 90, which came in the Renault Megane Trophy. They're trying to work out which body bits they can just throw away and replace with new ones, and which ones they may not have a spare for, and they got to doctor. In the neighbouring garage is the 71, very standard looking VW Golf from TTC Racing. A new steering rack being put there.
Oh
no! There is front left-hand corner damage, and I think that's probably has caused them to rip the whole steering rack off and try and fit a new one.
They were in a cracking battle with Wubber Herlar and the 75 car. And they're both in the pits. First and second have been in the pits for exactly the same amount of time.
No, he's out. Hertha literally has just come out after an 18-minute stay.
You're right. So Schilliger must have been in the lead for a moment until he'd pitted. So we need to find out, Bruce, why the 75 car, Wubber Herlar's car, the D1 a long-time leader. This is the SVDP BMW car. Spencer van der Poel and Wubber Herlar driving that together, the United Arab Emirates entered car. He's been in the pits for 18 minutes, allowing that 71 car to catch them up. Who's next up? Morris O'Reilly in the 74. That's the Scan Grip Racing by Cor Oyser BMW, another Danish entered car for New Zealander Morris O'Reilly. German Dirk Schultz, Niels Borum from Denmark, and Lisette Brahms. That's the other car that Lisette Brahms is entered in.
SVDP Racing, it was a wheel bearing they had to change, but they're all smiles because, of course, as you just said, it has rejoined with Wubber Herlar at the wheel.
And still in the lead, actually,
yes,
with their nearest competition, as you reported a moment ago, being that normally pristine Golf, getting the steering rack. But that again, all of that you were just talking about earlier, shake, rattle and rolling, that's very interesting.
I think the extra bumps on this track are causing some problems for some of the more road-orientated machines.
Okay.
Or the shorter duration race machines as well.
Okay.
But the 95's back out again. So the Mission Possible car, despite getting that, so obviously it was shunted but not heavily damaged, and then it was just the resulting momentum from the 90 which took it into the barriers and caused the long delay as they bent the barrier with a Megane, which obviously is not the thing that Megane trophy cars were designed to do. Though in fairness, most Megane trophy races I've seen, they do seem to do it quite regularly.
Driver change for the Audi the last time it was in the pits. Franjo Kovac is back behind the wheel of the 86 Audi, leading SP2 in 7th position. Only 4 stops for that car, and Franjo's been in 8 minutes 6 stops for the 88, the GC Automotive car. Lionel Amrouche is still there, but is a lap adrift of that battle for the lead in SP2. The A5 battle seems to be going the way, dare I say this without cursing them, of 9th place 208, which is the 208 GTI. Gonzalo Martin de Andreas at the wheel of that leading car. 210 laps completed by that little Peugeot, and its next nearest competitor, its teammate Guillaume Roman, on 209 next time it comes around, so more than a lap's lead there. In A3T, Moni Krant in the Seat, the 42 car, is on 205 laps the next time he comes around. Harry Hilders in the similar 41 car is on 202 laps. He has completed that. And where are the other battles in... Well, of course, the D1 battle has dropped off the leading screen. Well, not so very long ago, we had all of the class leaders in the top...
75's back in the pits again. He only went out for a lap.
In the top 27, and now that's changed.
75 G1 with Upper Hurla, who came out, he's back in the pits again. He's managed to increase the lead to 5 laps over the second place, 71 of Daniel Schilliger, but they are now both again in the pits. The Schilliger car, of course, is having a steering wrap change, which is not the work of the moment, but Huber, who we heard a second ago from Bruce is replacing a wheel bearing, has come back in again.
So Hurla back in the pit lane. Morris O'Reilly in the 74 is in 3rd position. He is 10 laps away, but you know, that's
22 minutes.
Yeah, you know, it's not a huge amount of time.
3:47 to go, so 22 minutes is nothing.
No. So Hurla back in the pit lane. Bruce is down there.
Yeah, they're working away on that front left corner.
So wheel bearing again.
They thought it was, it's perhaps not turned out to be.
Drive shaft, not a wheel bearing.
You could be right there, John, but sadly mechanics dispatched at speed to find the right tools in the toolbox. Mechanic on wheel just burnt hand on brake disc. Spikeless, sort of thing I'd do. But I think the brakes are going to come off now. Just having a look, trying to get around the back of him.
One of the...
if it's a front wheel, it can't be a drive shaft, because that's a BMW, isn't it?
Ah, right, you are, yes.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of the BMWs having problems with their wishbones, but that was... I thought that was down to actually accident damage. I don't think it was fatigue, but it could have been. The 91, which is one of the 5-litre Silhouette Fiestas, that was smoking.
Focus.
That was it. What did I say?
Fiesta.
Sorry, Focus. Do apologize.
Cortina.
Yeah, Zephyr. That was smoking as it went past below us in Hugenholtz.
Yeah. And that, as I said before, those two SP2 cars, 3rd and 4th, a lap between them. But the fastest lap of that car's race, the 91 car, Kim Holmgaard, just putting in, they are 10th and 11th, the 93 and 91 cars. So doing a pretty decent job in SP2, and I have been terribly impressed by those Mark cars, all Australian entered. The 91 car, which is second at the moment to its teammate, second best to its teammate, the 93, is the international car. Papua New Guinea, England with James Kay and Kim Holmgaard from Denmark. The other two cars, all Aussie crewed. Where, Nick, are they all from?
New Oz, is it Australia?
Yes.
I looked at the
Nick
flag
won't be going to Bathurst.
I looked at the flag, saw the stars,
he won't be
got
let
it
in.
Wrong. Well, apparently they're going to have their own flags thing, so that's fine. They're going to redesign it, aren't they? So, and the Synchro team are in.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're going to do some work. I think Martin Byfield's actually there putting on a working jacket.
Stephen Ritchie's just brought that car in, Bruce.
Yeah, bonnet's up. Let's walk up behind. I'm still waiting to find out why the SVDP Racing BMW 120D is in from the formerly bulletproof D1 class. Just trying to see what they're looking at deep in the recesses under the bonnet of that black and vaguely white Honda Civic of Synchro
Vaguely,
Motorsport.
yes.
Well, it's sort of white in patches. All their logos are in white. I think it's a very, very cool livery, I must say.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good shape, that car. You know, the road car doesn't inspire me at all, if I'm honest. And sorry to anybody from Honda who's listening, but the slightly flared wheel arches, the black... I'm a big fan of black race cars, as everybody knows, but the slots in the bodywork and the slightly flared wheel arches, particularly at the back, completely transform.
It's a fabulous colour scheme. It's really one of those schemes where they've sat down and said, well, we need to say certain things about the sponsors, but we also need to make it look like a coherent piece of automotive art, and it really works very well. At the front, John, the lead is down to 1 minute and 8 seconds, so 68 seconds, an average of 5 seconds a lap is coming out of this. So we are just 14 laps, theoretically, from our leader, Christian Brack, seeing Peter Cox in his rear-view mirror.
And that assumes that Christian isn't held up any more than he might already be expecting to have issues with the traffic. Having issues with the traffic. There is our leader going down into Hugenholtz box now. The double apex left-handed hairpin climbing up the hill. Doesn't quite run over the red and white curb on the right-hand side as he just goes through the wee kink at the top of the hill at Hunsrück. Down through the compression that is Slotemacher boxed, and then over that skyline, the car going tremendously light over Schivlach. We lose him then, which is a shame because he dives down. There's a little kink, just a little right-left kink, barely perceptible, but it puts you just on the wrong line as you're braking for Masterbocht, and then you're turning right for ages, and then it tightens into turn 9, and you've got a curving left-handed straight, puts you in the wrong place again, and when you want to be on the right-hand side of the road, you find yourself on the left for turn 10.
Sounds like my driving test.
And then you're heading down the infield straight from turn 10 into the heavy braking area at Hans Ernstbosch. And if you've ever done this track on any kind of simulator, I guarantee you've gone straight on at Hans Ernstbosch and into the gravel the first time you do it, because it comes up on you way quicker than you expect it to. And then the final corner is effectively a big 180+ degree hairpin that opens up.
Number 2 in the pits, John, just whizzing into space. Luckily, Synchro Motorsport had just pushed the 57 Honda out of the way to make space for the pace-setting number 2. They may have a problem. 57, I'll just fill you in, an auxiliary belt has gone, and they think they've got a problem with coolant, but very wise of Synchro Motorsport to push that one out of the way. Good communication between the two teams.
I sense a waffle.
Yes, I'm just trying to get rid of it. Very nice too. They were being offered around on trays, and I saw one mechanic trying to take the whole tray until he was allowed one.
Excellent. Well, no, I can only say that any sort of snack-based pit lane reporting is thoroughly endorsed by me.
Never let them go by. Never let them pass.
The 2 car has come in, as you can see, Bruce. They're working on that rear right. Now, this is the same
area in the car
where they had that problem yesterday with the 1 car. They, again, started off, they brought it in, had an examination of the rear of the car, did it again on the 1, and eventually it turned out to be a gearbox issue. They now started doing it on the 2 car. Now, whether it's a repetition of the gearbox issue or something else at that rear right, Bruce, you can probably see, what are they doing the torch peering in thing, or are they actually working on something?
They're working on something. I think they're trying to find the torch they dropped in there yesterday. It's all quite calm though, I think, because they've had the practice yesterday. They're taking the brake disc off. I'll stand back so you've got space to do that. Now what's coming off next? No, it's just simply replacing the brake disc. Well, simply. But that's what they're doing. And they're hard up against the back of the SVDP BMW, so they're going to have to pull it back when they get it fitted. And it might look as though the SVPD1 is going to get away first, which would be pretty handy, because there's only about half a metre between the 2 cars in the pit lane.
Christian Bracker responds a 46.3 to Peter Cox's 46.40, pegs the lead at 64.5 seconds. But you get the sense of inevitability of that bright red Ferrari hunting down the Mercedes-Benz at the head of the field. Through goes the leader. What is a minute and 4 seconds? Well, it won't be that this time around. Through Tarzan for the leader. You shout out when you see Peter Cox coming across the line, Nick, as Brackett goes. Well, no, he doesn't. He thinks about going past one of the Focus, but he can't do it. And now he's caught up as he comes into Hugenholtz, and that's cost him a huge amount of time. He's now been hurried by a Renault Clio. That's Gonzalo Martin de Andreas, who's the... no, excuse me, not. That would be make that a 205. So, but it was definitely one of the... no, that was the 208. That was the 208, excuse me. The white and blue car, not a Clio. It was a 208.
Okay, number 2 has just rejoined. No refueling. They changed that rear right brake disc, and it's another wheel bearing problem for 75.
So the Corvette 5 goes there, and he's the car currently in 3rd. We haven't mentioned him for hours, but they are knocking off the laps in a very professional way. As as Peter Cox now comes down the main straight over the start-finish line. He takes one the BMW 3 Series. He's going past our favourite Norwich stroke John Deere coloured RCZ, and now up the inside of Tarzan, takes a second one. Oh, goes a bit wide. Really stacked it hard into Tarzan to get one more car, which I think was the MG3. He's gone past that and he sprints down the straight. And he is going to go to Hoogenhuts at the proper speed, John.
So 3:20 here in Central Europe. Christian Bracker leading by about 64 seconds. I think I just heard up the line from London that we can cross to Circuit de la Sarthe. Is that right? Can hear you absolutely perfectly. Welcome to our Zandvoort broadcast. The Hankook 12H Zandvoort still with 3 hours and 40 minutes or thereabouts to go. Your big day tomorrow, Graham, and bring us news. We hearing conflicting reports. Some websites still saying that Millennium are going to be there. What's happened to the 2 Millennium cars? Are they there? Or are they not there? Right.
Graham, it's Nick. How are you doing? Is this a case of no cars or 2 cars, or 1 car or 2 car?
Double A. Of course. Oh, good. Ah. Any surprises, Graham, in terms of people who have turned up to do rookie laps or jump in non-expected cars, or indeed people who aren't there who we thought might have been? It's been a fluke, and I ask that not because I'm being downhearted about Le Mans this year, but we've had such a fluid entry list for this year's Le Mans that it seems like every time we look at it, it's changed again, or there's another driver who's moved cars. Yeah. And that's oh, okay. I've seen pictures, Nick Holland and others tweeting of some interesting pit equipment that certainly Porsche for LMP1 and Audi have. Sort of a quick lift, an undercar quick lift system for the LMPs. I'd suggested that the Porsche battery units, they drop out underneath the floor, and I wondered if they were thinking about hot swapping the batteries. I don't know why Audi would have them as well, Nick.
Audi had it last year.
All right, so
in the pit lane, yeah, they run a false floor and they have effectively a built-in sort of ramping system into it. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so that isn't new.
I'm sure that's one of the sister companies getting a little bit of a help on one of the things.
Anything else to have notes to report?
I have a question to ask.
Oh yes.
I know we had a chance to talk with Sam. Are we? Obviously, when they roll the cars out, or perhaps you've seen them already sitting in the garage, are we seeing different looking low downforce bodywork from any of the 3 key prototype teams?
Toyota might have been expected to do that, Graham, yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, you've got the Ligier, haven't you, as well?
Underneath us, by the way, the gap here is still just over a minute. Peter Cox has charged towards Christian Bracker, has come to a halt for the moment with just over 3.5 hours still to run here at the Hankook 12 Hours of Zandvoort. Graham Goodwin, editor of dailysportscar.com, on the line from Le Mans to us, broadcasting 91.2 FM Mobile One Radio Le Mans around Les Sarthe and on radiolemans.com tomorrow, of course, for the test day. All kinds of rumours that I think Andy Cotton from Racecar Engineering started off after our Nismo launch programme went out about Ford coming back to LMP1. I have got some Ford news from Le Mans in that there's an addition to the Ford chicane. We have sausages on the Ford chicane. Yeah. Any truth in the rumours that's purely to stop Alan McNish, the safety car, just blazing straight through it?
About to say.
Yeah, he's working for Audi TV, I think. Yeah. Yeah, with his entourage. It's got out of Bruce Jones in the pits. The number one Hofer Benz has come into the pit lane and gone straight into its garage, Bruce.
I just went straight into its garage as well. I'm just going to come out. You were talking about sausages at the Ford chicane. Better than that, we had Peter Boller here in the pit lane.
I'm missing out on everything today.
You know what? You know the technique someone has if they've forgotten to buy a ticket for the train? They go down the carriages, always one ahead of the ticket collector. I've been doing the reverse. I've been running down the pit lane to keep ahead of the trays of Peter Boller. It's fairly poor performance, really, but you've got to do it. So delicious. Teams really appreciate it. Yes, what's happening with number one? It's all being checked out at the front end, but they're still checking, of course, that errant driver's side door, the left side door that popped its hinges earlier on. So a bit of a general overhaul, but of course the number one is so far down. Where are they now? About 20?
They are 9. They just got into the 19th position, but they've not made up any positions in class. They started 44th in 8th position in A6. They are still exactly the same. 210 laps against 235 from the leader. So they've gained absolutely nothing today. Thanks, Bruce. Graham Goodwin down there in Le Mans. About 6 or 7 hours drive away from us here in Zandvoort at the moment. 10? Yeah. You haven't seen me drive. And it's 55 seconds at the head of the field. Peter Cox is chasing down Christian Bracker. Ferrari versus the leading Mercedes-Benz. Any idea what the problem is, Bruce?
No, I can't answer that one for you because I was just watching they're working again. Oh, it's number 51, nearly takes my toes off. I was just watching they're working on that door for the number one Mercedes. They're trying to... Well, it doesn't seem attached anymore to the hydraulics as opposed to raise it. Sorry. So I can't answer your first question, but that's what they're working on the number one.
They should take it around the back and blow it up. Not the whole car, just the door off.
It hasn't really worked
I
for
only
them,
want you to blow the bloody door off.
Yes. Let's go back to Graham Goodwin, editor of Daily Sports Car at Le Mans. We've been waiting for clearance to run a pretty big team story for Le Mans this year. I have to say that we've had interest in this from all over, particularly from America. We said it had American connotations, and it was going to come out tomorrow, but I think we've been allowed to break the embargo, haven't we? Well, I was told that I was told that you were going to break the story. Ah, okay, right. No, that's fine. That's fine. We can leave that for you for tomorrow. Ah, yes, that's a good. That's very interesting indeed. Right, we'll leave the announcement for you guys to do tomorrow. Then, in that case, if that's what's been decided.
Another delay. Another delay. The big announcements often get delayed, though.
Okay. You're listening to RadioLeMans.com, and it's live from Zandvoort and Le Mans at the moment here on RadioLeMans.com. And what time are you kicking off in the morning, then, Graham? Oh. Well, Graham Goodwin leaves us there, rather more abruptly than I had expected.
I can join you though, John.
It will be 8 o'clock in the morning, I think, UK time. For that, it runs through. There's 2 sessions, of course, as ever, and it's live on RadioLeMans.com and on 91.2 Mobile One Radio Le Mans around the circuit. Bruce.
Yes, I mean, part of the service we supply is feeding people all around the world with information, but also I love it when a crew member just comes up and says, one of my teammates at home in Germany, she's not well, but she's listening to your show from Zandvoort, and that's from Sorg Motorsport, saying, get well, Danielle Ulrich. They're having a good time here. They've had the setback. That clash with the number 90 Renault Megane trophy really didn't help their running. It looks as though that 90 Renault may not be going back into the race, because it's been talking to the team getting out of the way as number 1 comes back out of the garage. They think it's just too bent in various important parts for the bits to be reattached. They're reappraising as we go, but the faces were very long there about 10 minutes ago, unfortunately. Obviously did so well in SP2 early on, had that moment, got onto the grass, they reckon, avoiding the BMW as they went over the top of the hill, spun and then hit the barriers. Front end, back end damage for the 90 Renault Megane trophy car, with Jan Joris Verheul at the wheel at the time.
Thanks to Tim Gray, our executive producer in London, and the responsible adult who is our producer at Le Mans, and she did the technicals as well for that one. Graham Goodwin, along with Sam Collins of Race Car Engineering, tomorrow will be down at Le Mans for us as the Synchro Motorsport Honda comes back in on the end of a tow rope. In the pit lane, the Nismo hashtag Eat Sleep Race repeat reporters will be Joe Bradley and Shea Adam, and of course test day would not be test day without the analyst of all analysts, and that's Paul Truswell, who'll be in the walking data centre in the UK, crunching the numbers that he gets from the timing and making predictions on the fly. We will press him to give us the 14 laps it's going to be if you want to be competitive at Le Mans this year, but Paul will confirm that, I'm sure, tomorrow. Coverage starting at 8 UK time and running through the whole of the day, and the only place for full live independent coverage of The test day is here on radiolemans.com. If you're at the circuit, don't forget. And I suppose some of you might just be thinking about popping down there, or possibly even listening to us en route. 91.2 FM for 2014 is Mobile One Radio Le Mans. Right, let's get back to what's happening here with just on 3 hours and 24 minutes to go. Did I see a yellow flag? I did, right at the top of the hill, in the place where we've just had the accident. And we've got a course car at an angle on the run up to the... No, that's on the left-hand side of the track. What is going on there?
No, it's the right-hand side of the track.
Wait till another car goes past. Oh, yes, you're right. It is the right-hand side of the track. And we've got another Nissan pickup coming through past us at Hugenholtz. And is there...
It's a red car, I think.
Well,
I'm having a problem with my colour definition today, so...
Well, no, but also the issues we had was with the red course car that turned up from apparently nowhere. I can't see any cars stopped on the ticker. And at the moment, none of the TV screens show doubly waved yellows at the top of the hill, but I can't see the reason for that. There's a slow-moving vehicle going through to the cut-off.
Oh, it's a car being towed back.
Is that what it is?
It is a red car being towed back by the machine. It's got a... just by guessing, I think it might be the GC88, but I might be wrong.
Or it could be the 44, a little zest.
Oh,
it is the 88.
Okay, 88. I'll cut my
GC.
losses, go halves. Number 90 is over and out, unfortunately, just gone back down, and Team Bashore has parked up the Renault Megane Trophy car that, don't forget, was it fifth overnight?
Well, that's massively good news of Franco Kovac, who's leading in the Audi TT, because two of his major rivals have gone out within about a minute of each other.
Yeah, absolutely right. Franio Kovac, who is in 7th position now, leading SP2 in that rather lovely TTRS. It's the inline 5, of course, 2.5 litre. Sounds fantastic when it's revved. Just gone across the line behind us. He's completed 227 laps. And if it is the 88, it's Lionel Amrouche, who did such a great job yesterday in that car. And it will be recovered to the pit lane, confirmed. So what a shame for the GC Automotive, who, I mean, that's the best run we've seen that car have, Nick, isn't it?
Where it made the second hour, it was the best run we've seen.
Well,
no, in fact,
any of those cars.
No, it was competitive. It was running well. The issues they had were with very minor on that car, with really just bodywork mounting. There's two things that happened here. It's had an accident off, but it looks to be more likely he's pulled the car to the side of the road, with some sort of mechanical issue.
So already dropping down the timing screen. So where's the next SP2 challenger then for the 86? It's Brett Nile in the first of the Mark Focuses. And behind him is the second one, Kim Holmgaard in the International Mark Focus, the one that James Kay is driving as well. So it's Audi, Mark Focus, and Mark Focus, or at least it will be in a moment or two's time when Kim Holmgaard goes round another lap. So that's the class where there has been the most change today, the SP2. They've been battling backwards and forwards. And
some of the reliabilities you just finally caught up with these cars, but they are lovely pieces of kit, most of them, and it's just a pity that what was really brewing up to a very fine battle has just been taken away from us.
I think the number 1 car's gone back out again, Michael Kroll. Bruce,
yes, it did.
Thank you.
I had to jump out of the way as it was being pulled out of the garage, and Michael Kroll should be at the wheel. He was lurking before when they were trying to reaffix the door. The hydraulic struts just clearly were no longer working.
Are you still able to move after the vast amount of food you've had in your most recent trip down to the pits?
I'm just sitting out the back having a coffee after that enormous meal that I picked up along the route.
Harsh, I feel.
Huge game for Peter Cox that last lap, John.
Yeah, and he's got it down. It's odd, isn't it? It's a couple of laps where nothing seems to happen for Peter, and then he'll take 5 seconds. And it seems to be that Bracker in traffic just isn't as decisive. And I can understand that, and I don't blame him at all. But Peter Cox scything his way. See, Peter Cox just gained 5 seconds on a lap where he only did a 44.7.
Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it? It's almost as if Peter's running to fuel, but also trying to keep up the momentum as well.
He had a bad lap the previous lap, he did 1:49, but that was in traffic. So I think in fresh air, he's probably now running at that sort of speed, a couple of seconds off. I mean, also, of course, the tyres are not particularly fresh anymore, so they'll have lost a bit of their vibrancy. And so it's a better lap for Christian Bracker, that last one round, a 1:46. So we'll wait to see what Peter can do. Christian now just going beneath us to our left at Hugenholz. And we're still waiting to see the emergence and getting down the straight of Peter Cox. Will be here in any second now, be coming down.
Right, let's run through the class lead as Christian Bracker leads at the head of the field. As you know, in the 33, the Martini coloured 33 Benz by 40 seconds. In SP2, Franjo Kovac in the 86, that is the Audi TT RS, has completed 228 laps. His nearest competitor now on 226 laps is Brett Nile in the 93 Mark Focus in 9th position overall. In SP3, Ross Warburton back to the front of the field in the Ginetta. In fact, actually, they've been ahead forever. The Ginetta G50 leads in 15th position overall, 223 laps in the book for them. Their nearest SP3 competitor is the PG Motorsports Porsche 993 now. Wow, you couldn't get two... 996, sorry, GT3 Cup car. You couldn't get two more different sports cars than Stuttgart's finest and Garforth's finest. And Garforth leads Stuttgart at the moment
they have one
by
thing in common,
3 laps.
They both have a single make series on the BTCC package.
Fair point, well made. There is the other Porsche in the pits at the moment. That is the 17 car. That is down in 6th position in SP2 in 20.
Think about that 21
car,
the grey car, when it goes round. I think it's a 996 Cup car.
It is.
It looks so much smaller than the
current
Porsche you see
cars.
now.
I agree.
They've really massively increased the footprint in those machines.
In A3T, it's been a battle between the 42 and the 41. Moni Krantz has just come in from the lead. He's completed 220 laps. He'll hold on to that just, I think, from Harry Hildish. They're both in Seat Super Copas in 17th and 18th position. In A2, it's René Hagedorn in the 48. That is the Peugeot RCZ. And his battle has sort of diluted a little bit. He's completed 216 laps. His nearest competitor is the 53, which is down on 214 laps. And I'm pretty certain Peter Orbel in the 53 is in the Team Sally car. Yes, he is, the Clio Sport. So then that only leaves the diesels. And the Diesel 1 battle is going the way of Maurice O'Reilly, because he's just going around. The 71 Andreas Kempf Golf still in the pits. Spencer van der Poel is back out again, but only recently, having been in the pits for a very long time. And that is the second place car. So it's 74 Maurice O'Reilly in the BMW. The Sengrip Racing by Cor Oyser as a spin behind us by the Corvette, just coming down to Hugenholz, and the Corvette is slow to get away. So Maurice O'Reilly in that Cor Oyser BMW then in 35th position, has 193 laps behind him, and his nearest competition is Spencer van der Poel in the SVDP car, and he's done 189, 184 for the Golf of Andreas Kempf, who is still in the pit lane. That's the TTC Motorsport car. And it was, by the way, Alex van der Hoff who just spun the Corvette behind us. So 3 hours and 14 to go. Who's coming into...
The 88 car's coming in the back of the tow. He's managed to get himself back through again.
Yeah, 88 just coming past me. I was just being interviewed there for a second. Looking at the damage, none apparent, no more than there was earlier in the race when it was running around with slightly bent bodywork. But that's the better of the GC Automobile entries, and I'll run down there in a second to see really what's caused it to be towed in. But I think you're right. I think the car simply stopped at the side of the circuit and got towed back in.
Yeah, it looked very much like it's a mechanical issue. In that last lap, just a few seconds ago, we saw Peter Cox take 8 seconds out of Christian Brack, and he's now taken another 5, and the gap is down to just under 32 seconds. both been running for about 51 minutes. They can certainly do an hour and a half before they need to stop. The question is, when do 33, the Martini team, when do they blink the Car Collection Motorsport? Because they probably want to get Christian Brack out the car and someone like René van der Zande in to the finish, or at least for a large stint to try and open up the gap again, because of course Peter Cox is the fastest of the 3 drivers in the 9, the Scuderia Praha. They have either Mr. Zink or Mr. Priasak, who will come in next, but Peter has certainly got another hour to go at least, he would hope, and he's catching up fast.
And they've both had the same amount of time in the car. You know, that's the key thing, 51 and 52 minutes. So the fuel load is very similar. The way that the cars are handling is going to be similar, and the tactics are very similar. That's the thing, Nick.
And our third place vet is coming into the pits after his spin, John. So whether that, he doesn't appear to have any damage to the car in that the now black and yellow machine, it's another set of tyres. But certainly the battle at the front is very close, in that by the time they change over, I confidently expect that Peter Cox will be in the lead. But at that point, the Car Collection Motorsport team has better drivers to go to than Scuderia Praha. Praha, sorry.
Prague.
Team Prague. Team Prague. Team Czech Republic. And beneath us, Peter Cox takes another lap. He's now going through Hugenholtz, and he's got to get past 2 very slow cars. That's not their fault. They just haven't got as big engines or large tyres or aerodynamics. And he's actually gone past about 7 cars in the last 2 laps, which is indicative of he only picked up a couple of seconds on Christian Brack in the last lap. So this is now coming to a boil. And we are just entering, in a few minutes, the last quarter of the race. We are nearly 9 hours down, with just over 3 hours to go. Number 1 car continues on its way beneath us after the myriad of problems it's had. Number 2 car has not had a particularly good day either. He's currently just the overnight leader. He's currently 8 laps off the lead with Kenneth Heaver in the car. Third place is in the pits, and that's Alex Van Toff in the Corvette, and they are 4 laps down, and not a standard stop.
No, it's not a standard stop. You know, the front right wheel, I know he's turning it to go into the garage. That looks at a bit of a funny angle.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's a Skoda 67 setup there, I'd say.
The front right was the side they pranged in qualifying.
Yes, that's
in the qualifying accident.
Doesn't look so funny when so strange an angle when oh no, it does when he puts on right lock.
It's also very, very low on that right side.
It is very low, isn't it?
I mean, even for a racing car, the top of the tyre, I think they've... I'm not sure. The top of the tyre, you couldn't see that underneath the wheel arch. It was right underneath the wheel arch.
Yeah, it really curved in underneath. When the wheel's straight, it doesn't look so different, but no, that's not at the right angle.
When they jack it up, you'll see it dangling, and then you'll know.
And they'll have that front left bit of front wing comes off with 4 screws, so you'll soon be able to see exactly the problem with that car.
Yeah, well, they've left the front left wheel is on, and that's sitting at the right angle, but the front right, oh no, that's seriously not the right shape.
Well, don't forget, Alex van der Hoff's just had that spin behind us. Now, was it cause or effect of that spin behind us as he came through the kink at Gerlachbocht?
Well, they're going to start pulling all the bodywork off. We'll be able to see later. But this, they've already got a new suspension arm out.
There's the answer then. There is the answer. So let's watch the progress of Peter Cox then. Christian Brack and Peter Cox are battling at the head of the field. They are separated by a half a minute now, 30 seconds. And you just wonder, again, Peter Cox still... Well, in fact, he lost time for the first time in a long time.
He was behind about 7 cars, very close to him in that last lap.
But as you know, that is going to happen. It will be the ebb and flow. 3 hours and 9 minutes still to go.
Leader in the pits.
Oh, this is early. This is only a 54-minute stint, and Bracker comes in from the lead. Christian Bracker comes in from the lead in the Martini 33 Mercedes-Benz. Now,
they've got tyres waiting for him.
Does Cox follow him in? Remember, Renger van der Zande was saying double stinting the tyres in these Benz was like driving a drift car in the second half stint that he was doing, and there's a driver change as well. Bruce Jones.
Yeah, driver change, just trying to see who it is as I run down from the Corvette garage. But
Peter Cox goes through into the lead, Bruce. He's down into Tarzan now.
Job well done there. So Christian Brecker out of the car. I'll tell you who's getting in. It's not Renger van der Zande, that much I can tell you. Don't think it's Mirko Schultes, so by process of elimination, that should be Peter Schmidt, should it not?
Yeah.
And my guess is they'll be saving Renger for the last hour and a half to Renger its neck.
All very standard, and they've got nice gull-wing door action on the driver's side. Not all the Merc teams have that.
I've turned Nick's mic off, so when I hit him on the back of the head for that horrible pun, no one else will hear it. Oh! That was very quick, turning that car around. It will presumably turn right and going top off straight away, Bruce.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just trying to get the driver to have a word with.
Christian Brack out of that car and into the fueling station. Peter Cox will be round again in a minute to put a lap on that car. I'm not sure I wouldn't follow them, to be honest.
No, because they don't want to change drivers.
We don't have to change drivers. You just bring him in and top the fuel off so that at least you're on the same fuel strategy.
He's 57 minutes. He hasn't used a full amount of the fuel yet. You can't put however much they're allowed, 90 or 100. He hasn't used 90 or 100 litres yet.
He's got 100, yeah.
10 minutes of that was in the safety car.
Yeah,
sorry, code 60.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I know what you're saying, and I agree. The point you get to where you have whatever litre it is, you can get the thing top up again. That's when you come in.
Correct. Alex van der Hoff's Corvette is still being worked on that right front, the suspension being changed, and Peter Cox, he is scored in the lead as he goes through to complete lap 248, and Christian Bracker's car now, we think, under the control.
The other thing in the front page there, of course, is that Kenneth Iver,
Peter Schmidt,
will be taking over third place. The bottom step in the podium will be moving into the number 2 car. Heyer. Oh, it's the Y, I see it's at the bottom. So Kenneth Heyer and Alex van der Hoff, who's sitting in the pits, and we can see now you have the screen pictures up and where they're working hard on that front right to replace the suspension control arm. That car's going for a while, which means within about 2 minutes, Kenneth Heyer in the number 2 car is going to take the lead.
Look at where the engine, the exhaust manifolds are. That is a very, very brave mechanic doing that with bare arms. The gap between the brake disc, hot, and the exhaust manifold, hot, is about the width of an arm. Ow! And he's trying to do the bottom link with this open-ended spanner. No, really.
He's even got the mechanic's gloves in his hand.
No, that is bonkers brave as he gets a help from somebody with some gloves on. But he's flirting with disaster there on the 5 car. So next time around, Heyer will be scored in 3rd position. So it will be next time.
Well,
9:33 and 5. Sorry, Bruce.
Sorry, no, I'm sorry. Cutting across you. News from number 5. It was that front right corner that went down before the spin. It's
right,
what caused the spin.
Cause.
And of course, and they've just confirmed, yes, it is a follow through from yesterday's accident in qualifying, right beneath us at Hugenhochbots. And yes, that's the damage. The team very frustrated, but they feel the car will be quick when they get it out again. But it has, well, it's upset their running and it's cost them 3rd place.
Car 33, our leader. He's saying it's Mirko Schultz that's in the car, and I'm sure Bruce said it wasn't him.
No, I was guessing. I didn't think it was Mirko. It's between him and Peter Schmidt.
It is Mirko who's in the car. He just came out a few seconds ago after about an overall stopping time of about 4 minutes, including the fueling, so it was a quick stop. But he will drop down to be a lap or 2 laps behind Peter, which is a false distance because Peter now owes us a fuel stop.
Well, yes, he's been in for an hour there.
Now, one person who's been in for a while, well, I only know this because I'm coming down the pit lane, is 91. It's just one of the Mark VDS cars. That's the one that James Kay is sharing with Keith Kasuke.
7 minutes that car has been in.
Okay.
And that is now, of course, in 3rd position in SP2, the Mark Australia car. Kim Holmgaard last at the wheel of that car. Malcolm Neal, their teammates, has gone up into 2nd place, of course. That was after the demise of the 88. The GC,
our 5th place
automotive car
overall, Dr. Johannes Kirchhoff takes the Leipzig Lamborghini into the pits.
Yeah, I was just about to say they're all lining up at Lamborghini. Driver change to be made. So Michael Goltz comes in. And it doesn't look like Jeroen Mul, so it must be Maximilian Volker who's taking over.
I wonder if we'll get a GT3 version of the new Huracan, given that the R8 is on the same platform and there's a GT version of that already, GT3 version of that running.
If some rich people will buy it, they'll make it.
Is there a point of making 2 GT3 cars?
The thing about Lamborghinis, Lamborghini were never about racing, were they? That was the whole point. They never went racing. It was only recently.
Well, they've got the Lamborghini Challenge now, haven't they?
Trofeo, I'm sure it's called.
Trofeo, it is called. You're right.
I would say that they reckon that they can probably sell some Lamborghinis and they can probably sell some Audis to completely different people, and they make money.
The new Audi R8 GT3 has already been running at Monza a few weeks ago.
Road cars out next year, isn't it?
Road cars out end of this year, I think. No, beginning of next. It's 15. Yes, I think you're right. It is now. Well, now that the new TT's been launched, that is the oldest car in the Audi range, the R8.
Yes.
Only one without RDS, without not RDS. What
DAB,
DAB. Thank you. Wrong three-letter acronym. And it's that is due to be replaced next year. It will have the V10, we're told, to start with, but then it'll be the 4-litre, the Bentley engine, the 4-litre V8,
which they use, of course, in the RS7 and the RS8. Not the RS8, RS. Yes, there is RS8, isn't there?
not yet.
Oh.
There's
one.
There will be, so I presume that given that Bentley are racing and now winning, congratulations to the new generation of Bentley boys, who are now winning with that GT3 Bentley Continental. I presume the V8 will be the weapon of choice in the new Audi R8 GT3.
So one manufacturer has 3 different versions of its of a GT3 car for you to buy.
Well, possibly if the Lambo comes out, yes. 155.926 for Henk Hanna in the number 42 Seat Leon Super Cobra in his chase of Harry Hilders in the 41, same type of car. They're first and second in A3T, 17th and 18th overall. Meantime, who's that in the pits down below us? The black BMW.
Is it me, or has that Lamborghini been in the pits too long?
Yes, I was just waiting for a gap in the conversation.
Go ahead, Bruce.
No, just to say that they had a problem firing it up, and this pit stop and the previous one, and some when I was up in the commentary box, they take the engine cover off and peer down inside with their little torches, and they were doing that, and it all seemed fine to go, and then suddenly they had to dive into the cockpit. I don't know what the issue is. I'll try and get to the foot of it, but that car going off the boil, they'll put your own mull back in at some point later in the race. I'm sure make it go well again, but I think there's some niggly sort of problem. The 74 BMW mentioned, the black one, that's the one being run by Cor-Oyser,
yeah,
who I went past.
And that's the leader in D1, by the way.
The survivor in D1.
Yes, Morris O'Reilly brought that in, and that looks like, has that got trouble, or is it on the road again?
74?
Yeah.
No, it's still sitting there, but it's they're working on the front left corner, but I think they're just doing a rather slow tyre change, to be frank. Yeah, down on the deck. No air jacks on this one, just a good old winch it up. I wonder why Cor was standing there getting ready to oversee the action. He's a man who fits 36 hours into every 24, isn't he?
Yes, certainly is.
The 89 GT Automotive car is sort of crabbing down the pit lane, but I think it's more because of driving than actual an issue with the car itself. Can't see where it is. And
still the work goes on the BMW, the leading D1 car. There was a look of exasperation by the official in front of the car, sort of held his arms out, and that front left tyre change seems to be taking an inordinately long time, but it'll be 4 bolts on that wheel, is it, Bruce?
It is 4 indeed, and well, it seemed like 8, but it was 4. And off we go, but it's so quiet, isn't it, these 120Ds,
they have become a really good little endurance race car, haven't they?
Yeah, and I was really impressed when I first saw them race a few years ago, but they seem to be... Actually, I can't say that because we've seen some retire to the paddock, but they do seem to be really pretty indestructible, which actually doesn't stack up when I said I've seen them go to the paddock, but you know what I mean.
No, but they normally, you're right.
Just without drama.
The more I think about this, the more I'm going to have to agree with Nick, shock horror,
oh God, no, please don't.
In that it does seem as though we have had more attrition from mechanical issues here, not necessarily contact, but mechanical issues, and just cars generally shaking themselves to bits than we normally see in the Creventic Run events. We've got 4th, 5th and 6th all in the pits at the same time. Michael Goltz in the number 10 Lamborghini is still taking on fuel. Alex van der Hoff, of course, in the 5th place number 5 Corvette, has been in there for 13.5 minutes now with that suspension problem. In has come from 4th place Dr. Johannes Kirchhoff in the number 3 Mercedes-Benz. We're coming to complete another hour of racing. It's 4 o'clock here in Central Europe. The Zandvoort 12 hours, the Hankook 12 hours of Zandvoort, should I say, will continue for its last 3 hours. It's a sprint to the sunset here in the Netherlands. Let's go straight down to the pit lane and Bruce Jones.
Very standard measured pit stop for the number 3 Mercedes, one of the 2 cars from the Car Collection Motorsport team. Of course, their sister car, 33, doing rather better at the head of the field, but Dr. Johannes Kirchhoff has got out. He's walked into the garage, and I love it. His children just came up and sort of gave him high fives. You know, they're maybe 8, 5 years old. Shows that it matters through the generations, and particularly if you park and go out and do a good job. He was very pleased, seemingly, with his run. Doesn't have the pace of the 33 Martini liveried number 33, but doing a good job well done. But how is Peter Cox getting on? That's the question. I've got to go and look at a timing screen now. Few and far between down the pit lane, but either that or find another plate of those lovely little Dutch delicacies they were having earlier on, Nick. I ate yours,
guess what's
by the way.
just come here?
I'm coming up.
The 17 car has had an issue out at turn number 11 and will be recovered back to the pit lane. This is the Speed Lover Porsche. We just said that the Porsches were doing all right, with the grey one now the better of the two. This is the white and green car stuck out at turn 11, and it's going to be pulled back to the pit lane. It is just on the inside of the first part of the chicane, the Hans Ernst Bosch, and it is just on a tow rope, so I have to say I didn't see how it got there. I was distracted by the arrival of hot sausage snacks.
Always.
Yeah.
I didn't see it either. Interesting. Now Mirko Schultz is in the car. Peter Cox is no longer pulling away. So Mirko not only is a slightly more experienced driver, he's also got fresher tyres than his erstwhile teammate before him, and he is now just keeping the gap where it needs to be. And when the stagger unwinds, it will be when Peter Cox and the Team Prague team come in and take their fuel and change their drivers. But at the moment, you couldn't really call it, because it's going to depend actually on 2 things. One, how much more Peter can gain, and secondly, how much they can, how much they can take the fuel, whether they can save half a stop, and of course the relative speeds of the 2 Czech drivers in relation to the guys who are in the 33 car collection. One of which I would think, and ending the race at least for the last 90 minutes, is going to be Mr. Renger van der Zande, who's quite swift.
Yeah, Bitterballen. It's genius. Just genius. Dutch snack. Really good. Into the pit lane then comes the Porsche, behind the Nissan Navara truck,
which is currently scored 8th. The number of laps they've done.
Yeah, there are 6 of them though. It's one of the newer ones, actually.
That's number 1, that's why.
So the Porsche looking pristine, other than the fact that it has no fire in the flat 6.
I believe the problem with this car has been mechanical, as the number 5 Corvette comes out after having its front right suspension renewed for the 2nd time in the race meeting.
Dropped down to 5th position, Bruce.
Yes, and the number 17 Porsche, it does indeed look immaculate, bar from a bit of sort of rubber beating the side of the car. I must say, when you go down the pit lane, you have to be careful not to trip over the enormous balls of rubber that are deposited.
Leader.
And the gravel coming up by the chicane in front of us, he's taken a trip over the gravel, the leader.
Yeah, you're right, he has, and he comes out now. It's not the leader.
Yes, it is. It's the Martini. It's the Martini.
No, it's lying second.
Peter Cox is the leader.
Sorry, the leading SLS.
Mirko Schultz. No wonder I couldn't see.
Sorry.
I'm looking for a red car. But you are right. He went straight on at the chicane Hans Ernst Bosch and has rejoined. Now let's see if he calls into the pit lane. It looks dusty. It's gone past us and down into the first corner. I don't think it was that car.
You think it was the white 7?
It could be 7. It's very similar.
Well, there's nothing else come round. It might have been.
154. Would that fit?
Yeah. He just drove across the corner. He cut the corner. So yeah, 8 seconds about probably.
Yeah.
Very lucky, and it's dropping gravel as it goes round Hugenholtz. So right. Yes, it was.
No, it was. Yeah. Mirko Schultz then has made a mistake, and
rescue van's
we've
on.
Still got the rescue vehicle out. That will be going back to its position after dropping off the Porsche on the outside of Hugenholtz at the moment, heading up the hill. As into the pit lane comes Franjo Kovac in the Bezeplast Racing Audi TT RS, and this looks entirely routine. Bruce Jones.
entirely routine are the words I would have picked, John. I was just trying to catch Christian Breck of car 33 to get his thoughts that Mirko Schultes has had a little run, but he's on a phone call to someone. You know, the young drivers these days. But yeah, no, nice standard driver change for the 86 Besa Plus group. This is a car that really sort of almost came up on this this lead by stealth, didn't it? It just hasn't put a wheel out of line. The TTRS looking great. We did that. We commented yesterday about how we like the white with the blue and green flashes on it. It's a very tidy looking car. And yeah, as fast as you like. I presume from 7th place overall. I can see the big green illuminated 7 on the side.
Bruce,
We'll go down and get fuel.
The number 7 is off. Gianluca De Lorenzi has put the Benz off. Now, where is that? It's turn 12. So I wonder then if it was that car we saw going through the gravel, because he hasn't come back round again.
Well, that would tally, wouldn't it? Because you would go through the gravel from 11 across to 12. So yes.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, this is another incident.
I saw 7 coming round Hugenholtz.
It's another incident. I apologise, Nick, entirely, but he has done the same thing. He's gone straight into the wall, though at the
down there,
exit, possibly. Right on the exit of turn 12. He's made light contact with the tyre barriers on the right-hand side front of that Mercedes-Benz. He's down in 7th position in A6, and he's going to need a push backwards from there to get out of the precarious situation that he's in, because as you come through the chicane at Hans-Ernst Bosch, he is all the way around the 180-degree left-hand corner, and then it's about a Benz width between the edge of the track and the tyres, and his rear left three-quarter is precariously close to the edge of the track, which is pretty much the exit point of that hairpin.
Well, at least the team boss won't shout at him, because he is the team boss. Gianluca De Lorenzi. I can take myself out of the car, give myself a good kick up the backside, and carry on.
He seemed to find reverse initially, but the car now is looking stranded and stricken, which is surprising, because he's got either two mechanics to push him backwards or his own motive power, neither of which appear to be being employed
now,
in what would seem to be a reasonably simple escape policy without needing to be towed around by a Navara truck.
Do you think anyone else clipped him? Because the number 51 ATM Motorsport Renault Clio's come in with bodywork damage. Do you think it might have?
Car 9 in the pits. So we now move back to the front of the field. Bruce, you have the leader.
Leaders in the pits. I think they're thinking this might go full course.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Marshalls post for flagging as well. But yes, the Ferrari up onto the jacks, starting the wheel change. We've got a driver change, and it's getting the brake dust in my eyes from this distance. So Cox is out, and just trying to see which of the checks. I don't know the helmets.
No. There's a Navara pulled up behind the Mercedes-Benz, and now half the track pretty much is blocked right on the exit of Hans-Ernst Bosch, and he's going to try and pull him out backwards, I think. This is going to be a very tricky manoeuvre.
The driver's out of the car.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised.
I don't know I don't know what he's done, but it's a very weird situation where what did look like a very innocent kiss of the barrier appears to be causing major problems. Whether it's collapsed suspension and the car can't
I think it has.
Again.
I'm just looking at the right front.
Perhaps that was what caused the accident.
Oh, right front suspension again.
Hello, we've heard that tune before, haven't we?
Yes, but on a Corvette, not on a Benz. Well, there is enough room for people to get round because he's on the high side of the exit of that corner. He's not quite as far around as I initially thought, I'll be honest. And so the drivers are hugging the red and white curb to the inside of the final port. The Corvette goes through in the hands of Rick Bresch. And the bonnet is up on the Benz. And Mirko Gianluca De Lorenzi is looking into, and the code 60 is out, unsurprisingly. It's the only way it's going to be pulled backwards from there.
Okay, well, the race-leading Ferrari is in the refueling bay at the moment, so they could benefit from this after all.
And there's a big kind of row about this situation, about whether it should be pulled back or not. I'm not really worried about damage, I don't know. But Peter Cox in the fueling up and getting a fuel stop half free.
Another free fuel stop.
But it's not Peter Cox, of course. We have one of the two Czechoslovakian drivers has got it. Sorry, Czech Republic drivers got in.
Brilliant timing for the Team Prague organisation. That was a smart move to get the car in. It's another free fuel stop. Another chance for us to get a bit of fresh air.
This is a soft code 60, I'd say.
It won't be long.
And also, I'm not quite sure what the situation is with that number 7 Benz that has caused it. I mean, it's pretty obvious that Gianluca De Lorenzi doesn't want the car touched for some reason, so whether he's got it dragging on the ground, he's worried about doing expensive damage, being dragged back again, I don't know. But it appears he's asked for the crane machine to come around and pick him up rather than get towed. So which could only be because he's got a collapsed front end.
Yeah, I'm going to say that your speculation is entirely warranted.
Well, from the chief speculator, that's his praise indeed.
No, indeed. Thank you. There is the 33 Martini
nice
car
open,
going through. Makes a huge difference.
So that's the second place man.
All of it, the pit lane's empty at the moment, which I'm very surprised, I'll be honest.
Yeah, we've got one BMW, it's the Picon Racing version. We've got another car that's just taking a time penalty under the commentary box, another BMW. But of the front runners, there are none in the pits. But don't forget, the Ferrari just timed it right to go for
now
refueling.
Here's a story. The RCZ Peugeot is getting a time penalty. This is René Hagedorn in the A2 class-leading Peugeot RCZ. And he's got some time, but not a lot. Peter Obel in the 53 is in second place in the A2 category. That's the Kizzy Ebbing Racing Renault Clio.
That Peugeot RCZ, you just talked about a time penalty. That is now having its standard pit stop.
At all. It's a Team Sally car that's in second. Sorry, Bruce, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that the RCZ Peugeot, which had the time penalty, is in. Gosh, they do struggle to get the drivers out of the car. And that's not a particularly tall driver. I suppose you've got that low roofline on the RCZ.
Mate, I struggle to get out of an Audi A6 after I've been in a car for a few hours. I have to be folded in and out of the TT. Oddly, I never have any problem getting in and out of the 993.
Oh, well, you see, it's old-fashioned cars. You're used to it.
Wider door, maybe. I don't know.
I am constantly amazed that the 89 GC car is still going round because it's been minorly damaged for at least the last 7 hours of running.
Jurij Pisarik is in the number 9 leading Ferrari and has just gone back out onto the circuit without losing the lead and retaining a lap on the field. And he's had his pit stop. That is a smart move from whoever's doing, whether that was a Peter Cox decision, who was in the car at the time, or whoever's on the pit wall for the Scuderia Praha team. That was a smart move.
The team manager car 88 is called to the pits, even though poor car 88 is actually running at the moment because
it's
in the pits being rebuilt.
That's Lionel Amrouche in the
GC car.
That was a class leader not so very long ago.
And it broke down.
Yeah.
Okay, it could only be for the procedure when he broke down. He obviously did something he shouldn't have done. So that probably is the definition of insult to injury.
So the leading Porsche is an almost showroom stock 996. The 997 that we have as well has had its trials and tribulations. The 17
has no drivers in the pits at the moment.
And you're right about Gianluca De Lorenzi. He's there with his helmet on, talking to the marshals, but he's quite adamant that that car won't be pushed.
Well, it's probably a 1 million euro car, and he doesn't want it damaged because he knows, the cost of putting the various bits back together again.
Right. I just wanted to see how they're lifting that. They've got it unstuffed. Oh, that's
swinging.
It is swinging precariously towards the track and the cars that are going through. Right front suspension damage. I think Nick was spot on at the beginning. Now, the suspension has been massively compressed because they're lifting the cars by putting the strops on the wheels themselves like a hook.
And they will then put it down. It will sit in 4 old tyres to stop it from moving around.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So it keeps it.
They're kind of an intermediate tyre, by the way. They've got a half cut on one side and a slick on the other. So just to keep the information going there.
Yeah, no, very good.
The tyres used by the rescue truck.
So it sits there on its floor then, rather than on its wheels. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I have news of a retirement for you. I'm afraid TTC Racing. There's a big banner over the rear window. They cleaned the car up and it says "See you in Catalonia." So obviously they're going to be back for the...
That's the Golf, isn't it? 71.
Yeah, they cleaned it up. They were working away, but clearly...
Led its class, Bruce.
Led its class and looked comfortable.
Our second place man has decided to take a pit stop as well.
You have to.
Which would be... he's only been out for about 20 minutes, hasn't he? Half an hour.
Serving a penalty. 33 serving a time penalty.
Then he'll send the penalty and roll through.
As far as I can see, the big story of the race is Peter Cox has been abducted by aliens. he is not in the pit garage. I went around the back to have a quick look. Maybe he's just having a call of nature, but for now he's disappeared.
Can I just ask about the 74 BMW did get out again? Yes, it did. We saw it go out. Yes, okay, that's fine. I was just a bit worried about that. 41 Seat in at the moment, still without its rear balance.
The third place car is in as well with Kevin Heyer. They are 6 laps off the lead and 5 laps off second, but they've come into the pits as well at this point. So
Kenneth Heyer, yeah.
So 2 of our 3 podium potentials are running around in the pit lane.
Very, very slow across the line for the 91 Ford Focus, the V8, and that does not sound happy. Now, I wonder if he was close to the code 60 time when he was coming through and he was just trying to lose a bit of time. Out goes the number 2 Mercedes-Benz.
Out goes the number 33 Mercedes-Benz, so he took that time penalty and is rejoining.
And no fuel, good point
no
there,
fuel.
Bruce.
Number 2 is going for fuel, however.
Did the Peugeot take fuel? Let's have a look. I don't think he did he?
I'm not sure he did. I turned around, he wasn't there, as sometimes can happen. So, and he's not down here at Reef.
So that was just a penalty as well.
No, he stopped in his pit box and did some
did he?
tyres and
yeah, a little bit of.
So I think Harry Hilders has got out without. No, he hasn't. He's got out without losing the lead. Jens Hansen, I should say. The Lotus of the Core Oyster team is in the pit lane with Lisette Brahm sprouted into the pits. They're third now in SP3, by the way. The 102 leaves. Let's do some class leaders whilst we've got time. Jiří Pesarik leads the race and is 6. SP2 is the Audi TT Frederick Lustrup in the Bezaplast car. Ronnie Latine in the 208 GTI leads A5. In SP3, it's Christian Dick. Oh, just by 2 minutes though in the Ginetta from Jan van Es in the 21 in second place in SP3, and that, if I can find the right part of the entry list, is the PG Motorsport Porsche. Of course it is. That's the 996. A3T, Harry Hilders in the Seat Leon Super Cup number 41 from Henk Hanna in the 42, similar car. 15 seconds only between those guys as well, so that's a bit of a battle. And it is still the BMW Dirk Schultz now at the wheel of the 74 BMW 120D that leads. Spencer van der Paal is back out on the track in the 75, but I don't. Well, we've just heard the 71. Andreas Kempf, that car is still scored in third in D1, but it's not moving anymore.
Well, you just talked about 7. He's back in the pits. Gianluca De Lorenzi, quite nimble, jumping down from the flatbed. They'll have to unload that. Bad news, though, for GC Automobiles. 88, the engine is a Brocon, motor pane. So that's out of the race, having done so well in SP2.
2 hours and 40 minutes to go. We're back under full race conditions. And it is the race to sunset tonight here at Zandvoort.
Well, John, I just got Gianluca De Lorenzi to explain what happened out there at turn 12.
Maybe it's one don't understand with one Clio, one small car, and crash, broken the steering.
And obviously you wanted the car to be put on the flatbed truck, not to be towed home.
Sorry?
You asked for the car to be put on the truck.
Yes, no, maybe it's finished.
Yeah, it's finished. Okay, so that's a very, very crestfallen Gianluca De Lorenzi from car number 7, the Mercedes. It's had its trials and tribulations, goes very well in his hands, but caught out by one of the back markers. Now, which was the little red car I saw that I thought had bodywork damage? It was the number 51. The little red Clio. Sorry, I think it was a Seat, wasn't it?
51 is a Clio. It's the ATM Motorsport car.
That's it. That was the one that had a clash with.
Okay.
So he clashed it, and that broke his front suspension. Or steering.
Yeah.
I'm not happy.
He's not happy. Nobody happy. No, not happy.
Yes, and that car just comes to a rest gently from the very impressively driven flatbed. The way he manoeuvres around the very tight confines of the ins and outs of the pit. It's the right front that has the damage, and the evidence of quite light contact there. The dive planes are still there, and there's a little bit of paint scrubbed away, and for that to have put the car out. In fact, I would say that's happened when he's hit the...
that's the barrier.
The barrier.
He's had a collision onto the wheel with the... He's hit wheels or hit wheel against something solid of that small car. And in doing that, he said he snapped the steering, so it's a steering rod. I don't think the car's out. I'm pretty sure they wanted to amend the steering rod.
No, he says he's out.
He's out.
He's out. No, he's finished. He's going off for lunch. But one car that is going well. We haven't heard much from Mark Cars. Let's hear from Brett Neal. Tell us, what's your experience of Zandvoort so far?
We had a really good time. Got used to the track actually quite fast. I think when we walked the track, we thought it might be quite challenging, but we actually found the cars settled and found ourselves quite comfortable straight away.
And it's going well?
Yeah, our car's going quite well. I think we're second in class. Everything feels comfortable.
But with these Mark Focus V8s, they're still very early in their development. Do you feel you've made great leaps forward this weekend?
Well, it's this is actually only our first drive in it ourselves, for my father and I. And it's the second meeting for the cars, but the cars are showing great reliability already. And for the amateur drivers, it's really comfortable, like I've said, which is really important to make fast lap times.
But you've got quite a busy European season lying ahead of you, is that right?
We're undecided ourselves what we're doing. I think Mark Cars Australia is going to do the whole Creventic series. Dad and I have done the Creventic series for the last 3 years. I think pretty much most events. I think you'll probably see us at Barcelona, definitely. And I'm not sure about possibly not Hungary. I think I might have to get married.
I like that, unsure until the final moment. It happens all around the world. Best of luck. That was Brett Neal, who's racing the 93 Ford Focus V8, the Mark Cars entry.
I might have to get married. I really hope his fiancée is not listening.
Yeah, I think he had a very strange twinkle in his eye, which is like, I think I shouldn't have just said might. Yes. Retreat. He can get in the car, put his helmet on, he'll be fine.
Those sort of sentences can come back to haunt you for years.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, I think if I'm reading the screens correctly, that after the change of drivers between our two leaders, 9 and 33, which saw Peter Cox take the lead temporarily and then it go back, and the net gain is that the number 9 car has gone from being 30 seconds behind when Mirko Šucic took over before the first of the changes due to the Code 60, and now he is 55 seconds behind, so it's a net gain of about...
No, he's more. He's a full lap. He's a full lap and some ahead. The 9 car has got a full lap in hand. Right. They've both crossed the finishing line. Okay, I'm pointing at screens as I do this tutorial for Nick. That's what that means. And he's already completed lap 261. He's completed lap 260.
Right.
So it's that and some.
So it's the and some. There's a lap and a bit.
Correct. If you look at people who are having battles, like can't find one now, of course. That's unfortunate. There you go. 240 laps. Christian Dick has completed. Jan van Eyster has just gone through. You saw that click over, and there's the difference. Christian Dick's just gone through behind him, so he's almost a full lap ahead.
The problem that he back into the circuit, John, down at Schieflach. I can see marshals running, and there's flags as well.
And the intervention vehicle is out as well, and this is going to...
Huge amount of dust coming up from that, another enormous great gravel trap there.
Yes, and there's cars stopping, slowing down 60. Just over the top of the hill. Code 60 has to come out and has. It's just over the brow of the hill. You can see people getting on the brake lights, coming on there as they dive over the top of the hill and head down towards that fantastic and very highly committed right-hander that you have to go through. And once again, we've got an issue on the far side of the circuit. Now, I don't think we've got a camera out there that we can...
It's a lot of, I can see a lot of marshals running. It seems to be quite a big one.
Right.
Or someone's spun in the middle of the track again.
Yes, that would be my guess. Come on,
yes, it's
go
very
back
hard
on.
to tell from the pit lane which team is most excited or concerned about this, but a lot of them are just running in to get their tyres out, but trying to find a screen that may show any. I'll try and find the one that has all the camera angles, all the corners covered.
The circuit is pretty much blocked at that, I think. Oh, heavens above, people's. That's the safety car just arriving, the intervention car. That is pretty much blocked at just over the top of Schlievelach down towards Mastersbocht, and I can't tell you from the circuit that we've got there. Yeah, it's right at the apex. You think it's there? Schlievelach, okay, just over the top of the brow.
The cars are making it down to Mastersbocht. There seemed to be a delay. I think they've now got a bit of clear track to come around those that were trapped.
It's right on the brow at the corner before at Schlievelach. And we think it might be the leader.
Ferrari we're hearing.
We think it might be the leader. I can't make that out from that picture that we're looking at, so I don't know. But let's see if it comes around. That's the only way we will know. We've got a couple of onboards that we might be able to grab a look at as they go by. That's the only hope, because the cameras, unfortunately, are not all the way around the circuit here. There is a question mark that's come up, and it is the leader of the race and the Ginetta,
leader of SP3.
believe. And that is the leader in SP3. That we believe have tangled. Those are the two cars missing at the moment. And unfortunately for us, we can see the flashing, it's very annoying, we can see the flashing lights on the top of the intervention vehicles, and we're kind of standing on our tiptoes as if that's going to make any difference at the distance we're at. And we have a circuit camera screen, but it has 16 cameras on it in very small boxes. All we can see is a phalanx of machinery gathered at the apex. Well, it's actually just over the apex of Schlievelach. And Pisarak has not come around. Pisarak has not come around. That's our leader. So drama here with 2.5 hours to go. In comes the leading Porsche. The number 21 car, the 996, the silver grey car, leading in SP3. Yep, absolutely, that's the new leader. So that's the confirmation that we needed, that Christian Dick was involved. It is the Ginetta then, and the leader of the race. And we've got the rescue vehicle coming out. The fire truck is heading up there. There's no sign of fire, I'll be honest, but they may need some rescue equipment. And the intervention vehicle making its way around Hugenholtz now, right in front of us.
The local guys are saying that it looks very like they're going to cut someone out, so that's very bad news.
Okay, well, I just jumped up to have a quick word with Speedworks Motorsport about the Ginetta 105, and they've heard nothing from Christian at the wheel, and doesn't seem to be any information coming back for the number 9 Ferrari either at the moment. The race leader.
And, well, we're not going to speculate, but they are definitely the two cars that are involved. And we get some pictures of the fire engine going up the hill, but I think we're going to lose it beyond there. Just don't have... Oh, there we are, finally. We've got a circuit camera. It's a CCTV camera that we're looking at the moment.
Number 47 is also involved according to the timing screens.
Thank you. 47 is DK Racing Renault Clio. That's one of the leaders in A2. That was right up there, Sonny Nelson at the wheel of that. So Sonny Nelson, James Kay and Yurish Pesarik, the three cars involved, confirmed now by the timing and scoring screens.
It's Christian Dick, not James Kay.
Oh, sorry, Christian Dick. Did I say James Kay there?
Yeah, right.
My apologies. Christian Dick in the 105 Ginetta, leader of SP3 at the time of the Code 60 and this incident. Yurish Pesarik leading the race in the number 9 Scuderia Praha Ferrari, and Sonny Nielsen in the 47 DK Racing Renault Clio, who was in the top 3 in his class as well in A2. So 3 significant cars in the race overall and their classes involved in coming together. And we're going to cut half of the track off. This is a very, very smart move by the organisers. We'll be going through the infield.
That is well thought out.
That is a brilliant, brilliant move. Well thought out and quickly put in. There's a shortcut at just running up the hill after Hunsrück, just off to our left-hand side as we are. So they are going to take the cars through that loop rather than past the scene of the incident to give the emergency services a chance to work and work their magic down at the site of the incident. And the safety car has been deployed. I see the BMW Touring going through. Now, is he going to go and park up and send everybody through the gap, or is he actually going to the scene of the incident? I think the former. No, he's gone through. So he's going to the scene of the incident. Intervention vehicles there. Rescue vehicles there. Everything has been done as you might expect. Never skimp on safety. And none of the drivers will mind this. It does break up the race, but it's the right thing to do.
Quite so, John. Time penalty being served by number 2. I came out of a pit garage, saw him sitting there, so I don't know if again this is one of those elongated ones under a code 60 for number 2. But of course he is now moving up into, is that take him up to 3rd position? Or he will be very soon up to 3rd.
Already,
second,
really.
Yes,
already up to 3rd. He's about to go into 2nd.
So whilst the cars have been moving around, it's a chance for the teams to have a relax, to think about how they want to handle the final 2 hours and 26 minutes of the race. Obviously our thoughts with 3 machines being worked on around the corner. It has seen Mikko Schultes has taken the lead overall from Jiří Bizarák, and Christian Frankenhout, the 3rd place man, the car 2, the car that was leading overnight.
Yep.
Is serving, I think, a time penalty. Is that right, Bruce? Car 2?
It's just gone out.
He served it.
And so he's knocked that one off, and he's only 4 or 5, he's 6 laps back, so he's now in a very comfortable 2nd place, and will be in a few minutes, with Elmar Grimm in a very in a slightly less comfortable 3rd place, with Maximilian Volkov in car 10, the Lamborghini, getting close to that number 3 machine of the Car Collection Motorsport 1 SLS. So it's 2 car collections in the top 3.
Yeah, 33 and 3 are working their magic. And Mikko Schultes then in the Martini liveried Benz SLS just goes past us through. Hans-Hugen Holzbock. That beautiful banked left-hander, 0 runoff on the. It's like driving a street circuit. There is literally no runoff on the outside of that circuit.
Yeah, Nigel Farmer, who actually said to me, it's like going around Macau.
Yeah, he said Port, doesn't it? Did he say Port?
No, he said Macau.
He did say Macau,
and I was thinking, I don't really understand that. Then I looked at it this morning from up here for the first time. I went, oh yeah, now I see why.
Yeah. So let's just recap on what's happening here.
John, could I just cut in?
Because
I've just grabbed Renger van der Zande, of course, the 33 Mercedes back in the lead of the race, the Ferrari involved in an accident. You were due to go in next anyhow, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, with 2 hours, the driver can only do a stint of 2 hours. So with 2 hours to go, I was supposed to go in and see where we are. If I had to do the last 2 hours, and if I didn't have, if we have a comfortable lead, Peter Smith will do another stint and drive it over the finish, which is always nice. So I'll go in the next one. I'll be the next one in, and it's a shame for the Ferrari guys. I think they were really good on the way. I do think it was a close fight towards the end of the race, but we have the comfortable lead now and keep out of trouble, and yeah, looking good.
And have you heard anything from your who's in the car at the moment? Is it Mirko or is it Peter?
Mirko Schultes is in the car now, so yeah.
Has he reported anything back about the accident out at Schiffler?
He said the Ferrari was in the wall, anything else I didn't hear.
Okay, but how has your 33 been running? Obviously, you had the problem yesterday with the door, but today has it been good?
Yeah, yesterday we had during qualifying a problem with the fuel pump, so that's why we were a bit down on power, and they repaired it, so that was all fine. Then the door came open, and I managed to close the door while driving. Lost some time, but not a lot. And after that, today actually was a perfect stint. On new tires, I went out and did fastest lap time, my fastest lap time for sure. And cut through traffic a lot better than yesterday. Somehow the people got better into giving direction where they are going to go. I mean, the speed difference is very big, and so we also need their slower cars, their help to give direction that we can pass. And today was a lot better on that. So today I enjoyed, and yesterday was a bit like, okay, coming through and staying alive.
Good, that's the key. Thank you very much. Renger van der Zande smiling, should be taking over the race leading car. Somewhat well, we've only got 2 hours and 20 minutes or so to remain.
Which means it's time for you to meet Nick at the battery change area, and you can pot it back up here for the last part of the race, and he'll head back down to the pit lane and do a battery change on the radio mic as well. Bruce, thanks for your efforts down in the pits. And I'll remind you, you're listening to radiolemans.com. Let's just recap what's happened here as much as we know it. We have had a 3-car incident, and it involves the cars 9, 105 and 47. Sonny Nelson at the wheel of the 47 Renault Clio was in the top 3 in his class here too, and was knocking on the door of the top 20. Christian Dick was leading for Ginetta in the 105 and had been for some time in SP3. And Jiří Pisarek leading the race overall in the A6 class for Scuderia Praha in the Ferrari. All of those cars involved in an incident just over the brow of the hill at Schivlak, almost as far away as they could possibly be from where we are at the moment. It's the last place on the circuit that we can see before they drop down to Mastersbach turn 9-10 area, which is behind the dunes, and we can't see that from here. It appears to be on driver's right. That is certainly where the rescue effort is concentrated. Just over the brow towards the second apex that you would sweep back in as you turn slightly right-handed, and then it tightens and drops down the hill, and it is just on that central part of the corner, the right-hander. The race at the moment under code 60, but the racetrack has been divided in half so that the emergency services can do their work without interruption of cars going by. Very smart move by the race control here at Zandvoort. The fire truck is down there with the rescue equipment, as you'd expect. The intervention vehicle was there very quickly as well. There is a flatbed waiting to be called onto the scene, but that hasn't moved down there yet. The BMW Touring that led the cars around this morning and yesterday at the start of the race has dispatched down there with race control officials to oversee what's going on, and we wait news here of the 3 drivers, Jiří Pisarek, Christian Dick and Sonny Nielsen. We have no more information than that at the moment. What we can tell you is Mirko Schultzes in the 33 Mercedes-Benz, the car collection machine, is leading the race, having completed 265 laps. Christian Frankenhout will be promoted into second place in a couple of laps' time. At the moment, he is 4 laps down, actually just under 4 laps down. Just 5 laps down, should I say, waiting for the timing screen to come through. In second place, Elmar Grimm is 9 laps off the leader in the number 3 Mercedes-Benz, the second of the car collection Mercedes-Benz. Then it's the number 10, the Lamborghini Max Volker at the wheel of that car. 255 laps completed for them. 253 for Rick Abresch, who is the final of the GT3 cars. That's the Ferrari, the V8 racing car, and he will be in 5th position.
Excellent.
Hi there, John.
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, just checking we're all here. It's quite a sombre atmosphere down here, I'm afraid. It's very quiet, and everyone's waiting to see get information as much as possible. And it's interesting how there's been little movement in the pits in this particular period of Code 60. I'm seeing very few people who are actually bringing cars in. We saw a couple of people serving penalties at the start of it, probably because they're not sure how long this period of suspension, effectively, of the race, as far as the race is concerned, is going to last.
Just getting some news back from the incident. We believe, and I await confirmation for this, but we believe Mirko Schultes is out of his car. The accident appears to have been between the Clio and the Ferrari, the initial incident. The Clio bouncing back into the middle of the road and then being collected broadside by the arriving Ginetta of Christian Dick. And at the moment we're awaiting news on Sonny Nielsen and Christian Dick. As I say, unconfirmed at the moment, but that is the report we are getting through.
Sorry, you said Mirko Schultes.
Sorry, Yuri Pisarik. Excuse me, Yuri Pisarik. Thank you, the Ferrari driver. I'm so used to Mirko driving Ferraris in other series.
Yes.
Yuri Pisarik is the Ferrari driver. Came into contact, or there was contact between that car and the 47 Sonny Nielsen driven Clio. They both went off. The Clio came back onto the circuit, and further impact with the arriving number 105. That was the Christian Dick driven Ginetta. We believe Yuri Pisarik is out of the Ferrari, and we're waiting news on the other two drivers. And we'll get you that as quickly as we can, obviously, as Bruce Jones rejoins us. Enjoy yourself down in the pits there, big fella.
I did, and just at the end we had the battery starting to go, but I'd been trying to change it, but I just thought,
then something happens.
Safety car period.
Yeah,
had to clear out. It was good to catch Renger, though, down at the end, because obviously he's got to pick up the pieces.
Yeah,
but they're leading the race. Mirko Schultes doing a job, but gosh, I'm not as fit as I thought I was coming up those 5 flights of stairs. Must be all those pitterballer I was eating in the pit lane.
We got a couple here. We did manage to.
I was very glad.
They were very good.
I just think it's a lovely touch. There was a quiet minute during the race, and
it's like a waffles down the pit lane at the moment. If anyone could put that right for me. Well, there's a lot of waffling because I'm talking, but there's not actually any waffles.
I was going to say there's never a lack of waffles for you guys when you're talking. So the incident continues to be attended to by the emergency services. If it means anything at all, the flatbed and the sweeper are moving up into position to begin the clear up of the machinery, which would suggest to me that the carbon-based parts of the incident, i.e. the drivers, are being attended to. They'd only be moving the cars, obviously, if everyone was out of them. So 2 hours and 15 minutes to go. And let's just reiterate 3 cars involved. The number 9 Ferrari, Yuri Pisarik, we believe out of that car. The 105 Christian Dick driven Ginetta arriving on the scene and collecting the Clio of Sonny Nielsen, who'd been involved in the original incident with the Ferrari. That's the 47 car. And we await news on Christian and Sonny. But the emergency service is there very quickly. And indeed, I can see the fire truck is moving away now, which was dispatched down there, presumably with some extra equipment that was required. And that has moved position. And I can see ambulances moving around the circuit now. So my assumption that car recovery equipment moving up was a sign at least of some movement was the correct one. Never good, Bruce, when we have these incidents, but it looks to have been dealt with very quickly. As I said, no official word yet, but we hear that Yuri is out of that car. We're waiting for news on the other two drivers.
Yes, I heard contrasting news on the way up at various points that the other drivers were now out of their cars but receiving medical treatment, and the ambulances, yes, we just saw them coming back in, but thank goodness they had the option of turning the cars right.
Brilliant idea.
After Hunsrück, it's sitting there, and you know, many circuits would have an option like that, but it would have been blocked off with concrete blocks to stop people taking little shortcuts during the race or whatever. So inspired to keep it that it could be opened just then and there. So again, more full marks to the circuit organisers as the fire tender is now coming back in from the scene at the far side of the circuit.
I take that as a good sign that their specialist skills are no longer required. May have been that they required some extraction equipment from the intervention from the fire truck there, and now we'll just feed back into the race traffic as it goes around. One ambulance is back, and we're still waiting to see the clear up continue.
Yes, we can still see some of the course vehicles, in fact, just simply blocking the track at the entrance to Chevlac. But of course, there would have been impact with the barriers that need to be sorted as well. Now, do you think we could have the option, if that part of the track isn't able to be reopened, to run the final 2 hours and 12 minutes this race using the loop through
Might have to.
through the shortcut? Might have to, indeed, which could put a different complexion on the whole thing. Of course, within all of this, we've got to work out who stands where with regard when they put the fuel in, and certainly that race-leading number 9 Ferrari seemed to have pulled off another masterstroke in terms of gaining time back with coming into the pits during the being in the pits during the previous Code 60 and getting that splash. But 33 came in as well and took a splash, and more flatbeds now, John, are heading up to presumably bring back the Ginetta, the Ferrari, and the Renault Clio. So
we have a pit caller.
Go ahead, Nick.
It's the pit caller in the deranged 89. It's not deranged by driving. It's not deranged in any other way than it's still suffering from about 6 hours ago. We got rammed up the backside